Testing, testing, testing. Okay, hey, track goose, can you hear me and can you see the screen? Hello, yeah, I got it to work, Rick. Yeah, I hit up my homeboy Sam. Yeah, I had to go under docs and then go to the bottom. So now, oh yeah, are we in are we in effect? We're in effect? Hell yeah. All right, before we get into the Elliot Rodger part 2, I got to let y'all know I went to the Class of 95 concert with my homeboy Danny Kim and his girlfriend Lindsay, my homeboy AJ and Chris. AJ and Chris were from Arizona. So I just want to show you the t-shirt that I got outside. I talked a little bit about it on my Patreon, but before we get into the Elliot Rodger thing, I only thought Redman and Method Man were performing. So when I was in the concert and I saw, I got goosebumps when they started playing Wu-Tang like instrumentals, and then I heard a familiar voice. It was Raekwon. It was Raekwon the Chef, y'all. So that was a highlight, and not only that, DJ Quick performed, and the ladies went crazy over Lil Kim. I just want to let y'all know. So I just want to show you. I went out. I don't just stay in here. I'm trying to get out more. And I might go back. Check this out. Because I've seen some people. I don't know if they've been watching the live streams. But there's some steebee'weebee folks there. And I might go back this Saturday because guess what? It's the Isley Brothers. Arsenio Hall is going to be the host. De La Soul at the Hollywood Bowl this week. Okay, so I might link up with my homeboy the Relayer and his girlfriend. The only thing, it's not at all hip. Like, this is a hip hop Class of 95 venue. This Saturday is going to be a jazz festival. So yeah, this was a really good time. There was probably only like 5 white people there. It was mostly blacks and Hispanics, maybe a few Asians, but it was nothing but peace, okay? It was the most peaceful concert. There was thugged out motherfuckers that, when I was walking around, I was just like kind of weary, and they were just literally dancing like this. They must, probably 90% of them had a cigar or a blunt in their hands, but they were like this. They were just fucking chilling like this, dude. Yeah, man, this is a good time. And I wanted to bring this up first. We're going to get into the Elliot Rodger 2, y'all. Okay, we're going to get it part 2, but I just want to give you an intro. I want to thank everyone who's been watching the John Goblikon episode. There's been a lot of positive feedback on that. So check that out, and then let's get into we're going to finish up Elliot Rodger part 2 tonight, you guys. What's up, Joel? That's the homie Joel Stokes. He helped out on a lot of Scissor Bros art. So shout out to Joel. Joel, I went to I saw the Roots, Goody Mob, Havoc from Mobb Deep, Redman, Method Man, Lil Kim, DJ Quick, E40 was there. Check it out, Joel. Yeah. Okay. So hold up. Did I miss anything? We're gonna get into this. Okay. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because it's like, I was thinking, partly the reason why I wanted to leave is because, dude, I'm like kind of partly becoming a shut-in. I'm not like leaving my apartment a lot, so I'm like, I gotta go out and experience life, y'all. And so when the invite came, I had to go to this because guess what? Next week, I wanted to get into the hikikomori stuff, which is, for those of you who don't know what the hikikomori is, they're considered shut-ins, where it mostly occurs in Japan, but I want to get into that kind of content because it's fascinating, because these motherfuckers don't leave at all. In fact, all they do is some of their parents just they push a tray underneath the door for food, and they don't leave. And all the I mean, a lot of them are gamers. But yeah, I mean, comment if you. What's up, Eric? Oh shit! Iota Arcane in the fucking house. What's up, Ace? I miss you. Yo, holler. Hey, Ace, holler at me, dog. I love you, man. Yo, Iota Arcane. Underrated. He could rap. He's a good rapper. He could rap really fast. I love you, Ace. Okay, we're gonna get into it, but I wrote down. Okay, so someone also mentioned God, I didn't write it down, but I wrote down the bizarre case of Stephen McDaniel. That's another JCS documentary type video. But yeah, oh, Nick Crowley. Someone mentioned the other week. I want to get into some Nick Crowley too. So I'm sorry for, I know I'm talking a lot, but I just wanted to get kind of these things out before we enter the world of the Supreme Gentleman, Elliot Rodger. So here we go. We're gonna get into it right now. And I bookmarked where we're at. We're at the Justin Bieber part. So here we go.
Who you don't even fucking know. There are so many decent guys out here who try so hard just to get one girl. It's not fair.
And
I mean, wow, that was really negative. Look, a lot of guys are jealous of Justin Bieber, not just Elliot. Like,
when coming across why do people hate Justin Bieber, he responded with,
because we find it ridiculous how all these girls are obsessed with him, when so many other guys out there have to try so hard just to get one girl.
Alright, so sorry. You can't compare yourself with Justin Bieber, or not. Like, that's kind of a tall mountain that you would need to climb there. So, I mean, I think this is just, he's being a hater, okay? I mean, Justin Bieber is the antithesis of what Elliot Rodger is, like Justin Bieber's, look at the way he's treating Haley, it's like, he's trying to get girls away from him, like, leave me alone, and doing weird things, Pray for Justin Bieber. He's going through some kind of crisis right now, but sorry, I just found that weird how he's, using, kind of hating on Justin Bieber.
It's unfair and unjust. Justin Bieber is a thief who steals all the attention of girls from all the nice, decent guys out there.
Well, a lot of people...
Well, another thing is, dude, he's like a rock star. He's like, you can't compare yourself to these other decent guys. It's not even in the same... He's on a different planet than most guys. And so him using a Justin Bieber comparison's a little bit... Oh, God, dude, please, not now. We're just starting. It's a little bit unfair, that's all.
People, especially at the time, hated Justin Bieber. Elliot took it to a new level. He even made an army of YouTube accounts simply to spam Justin Bieber-related videos with hate comments. Finally, Elliot, gradually evolving into what his moniker would eventually come to be, answered, "How do I choose which person to date?" with,
"The best choice is the one who is a nice, quiet gentleman."
Elliot's grandma Jinx came to visit the U.S. that...
I'm not disagreeing there, right? But you still have to know how to communicate with females. You could be the nicest, quiet gentleman you want. You still need to learn how to... Hold up, dude. Duke's like... You still need to learn how to communicate, man. It's not just going to fall in your lap, Elliot.
Next October, staying
right,
at his
dude?
father's house. He wanted to meet her, but he still wasn't on good terms with his father, and especially not Sumaya. Jinx insisted that he come over regardless, urging the three to meet up and make up over lunch. Elliot gave his grandma a hug, but he didn't say a word to his father and didn't get any words back. They all went back to Peter's house, and Elliot took a walk with his grandma, taking her out to his favorite contemplation spots. He considered them to be the most special places in his life.
I'm just contemplating about my life.
You know what? Sorry, guys. But that kind of stood out to me. Like, he's calling these, like, nature spots contemplation spots. So that says a lot. Like, he goes to these places to contemplate about life. That's pretty unusual.
And how unfair it's been lately. Hell, it's been unfair for the last 8 years. Ever since I hit puberty. Ever since I started desiring girls. But they never desired me back. Life has been a living hell since then.
Yeah, right here.
The two went back to the house. Jinx forced him inside to finally face
Okay.
Sumaya.
Moved
To
it
his
far over here.
surprise, both she and his father were willing to start over and give things one more shot. Elliot promised to try to keep things positive if he were able to come over for dinner. It wasn't too long before he was attending one of these dinners, which went about as awkwardly as you would expect. They tried to stick to positive topics. Elliot was just happy to see Jazz again, who was now about to turn 6. The two were able to converse now, which started to worry Elliot.
Better?
Jazz was social, charismatic even. He might turn into one of the kinds of people Elliot hated the most.
You know what? You know what I just thought of? Who would be another great guest on the Stevie Weebee show? Jazz Rodgers. Holler at Stevie right here. Under Kwangoo Instagram. Quangou. I would love to have Jazz Roberts and pick his brain about all this stuff. He's probably, what? Senior? Maybe in college by now? Hey, Jazz. What's up, Jeremiah? Yo, what's up, Scissor Bro? This is what we're doing now. Come over, man. Let's do some reactions, brother.
Jazz just didn't seem to have the problems that he did. Elliot decided to go on drives around his neighborhood often, taking the place of the previous long walks. He felt that getting out a little helped a bit with his depression. He would hop into the car, turn on some music, and drive nowhere in particular.
You know what I do like about Elliot Rodger, though? This is one of the only positive things about him. He loved to drive around listening to 80s music. Okay? So I thought that was cool because, dude, that's my shit right there. Duran Duran, Thompson Twins, all that shit.
But he soon learned not to do this on Friday or Saturday nights. This was when the couples were out,
Oh, this is
sometimes even
interesting.
having parties. This made him far too jealous. He couldn't even contain his rage at the sight.
Look at him, look at him.
It's 10:30 p.m. and at this time, the street erupts in countless college parties. And I'm going to drive through it and show.
You know what's crazy is, like, who does that? It's like, dude, you want to get involved with college life, pal? Get in the shower, use some Irish Spring, put on some cologne, and join them. Walk around. Don't drive around like a freak and, like, stalking people. That's kind of weird, dude.
Show you all how sick and evil this town is. Basically, how sick and evil young people of my generation are. Especially girls.
See, it's his perception. Did you hear what he's saying? How sick and twisted and evil my generation is. It's like, dude, you're projecting, brother. You're the one that's kind of the sick and twisted one and the evil one. Not them. They're just, hey, how about this? They're just doing regular college shit. It's Saturday. They want to play beer pong and drink beer and you know, party, you know, do their college shit.
Because, you know, they walk around in their revealing clothes, showing off their sexy legs, all these hot, beautiful blonde girls.
There you go again, pal. Blonde girls. What about be inclusive? All girls. That was your problem too, Elliot.
And yet they go for absolute obnoxious pricks instead of guys like me who actually deserve them. I'm a nice guy, but these girls go for bad boys.
That's another problem. Sorry, I have to make this transformative, guys. He has this self-entitlement of where it's me. I'm the supreme gentleman. They should be talking to me because I'm the nice one. It's like, nah, dude. You gotta. How about this? Go to the dugout, get a bat, You haven't even swung your bat, son. You gotta swing your freaking bat, bro.
The sight of them just pisses me off. It fills me with fury and rage. See, look at these douchebags right here.
How are those kids douchebags? They're literally just walking down the street. This guy, wow. Do you believe this guy?
Go around in their groups acting superior. See, look at all these popular people partying, enjoying their lives, while I've had to suffer. See, look at these assholes.
See, that's the thing. You know what's weird is like everyone besides himself were considered the enemy. It's like I don't see a problem with these people just walking to a house party. This is crazy. So it's just the reason why Elliot fascinates me, it's the way his mind worked, you know? It's like his perception towards life and social things around him. It was a bit odd.
Did you just see that? That guy was walking with such a hot girl. All these beautiful girls who would reject me if I ever said a word to them. I hate.
How about you do this? Park your car and try talking, Elliot, instead of doing what you're doing now. Sorry, guys. I wish I wish someone could have told him these things, you know.
Hate them all. You're an asshole.
Did you just see what he did? From the driver's side, he just said, "You're an asshole." What did that guy do to you? He's just walking with his friends to a party.
All these people think they're better than me. I'll show them.
Elliot went on a Warcraft binge, playing for 2 weeks straight, only stopping to briefly eat and sleep. He decided it was time to quit again, but not because of this. It was actually because many more people were playing the game now, people Elliot called normal. It was no longer a safe haven for people like himself. All sorts of people were playing now.
Okay, I'll read one. It says, I'd imagine he got rejected all the time. I agree, but it's like you have to try to get rejected. Like, you have to try first. That's when you could get rejected. This fool never even tried. So,
he couldn't believe that
there's a
people
difference.
started talking about sex, even using the word virgin as an insult. His safe haven was ruined, and it was time to leave. 2010 was coming to an end. Elliot went out to stay with his mother and Jack at the beach house for a few days. By the time he got there, they already had a few guests over. He was outraged to see that Maddie and her boyfriend were there. He couldn't think of anything else, feeling as insignificant as ever. He was angry at his mother for even inviting them. He walked around outside for hours, crying.
See, if I were Elliot, because we went over this last week, right? If you saw Maddie, and let's say, okay, she has a boyfriend, wouldn't you be like, if he was smart, he'd be like, I'm just saying, if Elliot was smart, he'd be like, hey, Maddie, you got any homegirls here of yours? You got are your friends at this party too? That's if he was smart. He would have done that. See, you know what I mean? You lost that battle, but then it could have opened up a whole different world if you were to ask your homegirl that you grew up with, where your homegirl's at. You know what I mean? That's if he was smart.
Lying to himself, only coming back after they had left. It was time for Chen and Peter to once again talk about Elliot's life direction. The three had dinner, talking about what his plans from now on would be. They both came to the decision that he wasn't going to get anywhere by repeating the same patterns in the same environment.
I mean, look at his face. God, so much ego.
He needed to go somewhere else where he didn't know anyone, try life on his own, and start anew. They thought that it would be nice if he went to college out in Santa Barbara. They laid out the groundwork. Peter still wasn't good on finances, but he could come up with about $500 a month to put towards this. Chen would then take care of the rent and car payments. Elliot was going to have to get a few roommates, but this was part of the college experience to him and not nearly as uncool as living with his mom. He took some time to think on it. Peter gave him a book called The Secret, a book that teaches about the law of attraction.
And not only that, is we all had that, and there was a DVD. I have it somewhere around here too. They do have, I guess, some good talking points, but I mean, you can't just like I could like think I'm gonna win the lottery. Yeah, I'm gonna win the lottery, but that's not gonna always happen. That's how Elliot probably used this book. He's like, because later he's gonna try to win the lottery. He's gonna drive to Arizona to try to hit the lotto. Okay.
Practice in which the reader will visualize their ideal life and that life will supposedly come to them. Elliot focused hard on this point, visualizing becoming a millionaire. He didn't really have any careers in mind, though. His mind went back to an old experience, the lottery. He bought up a few tickets and visualized as hard as he could. He would meditate while waiting for the winners to be announced. He failed to win, losing faith in the book. Santa Barbara appeared to be his only hope after all. Elliot got into...
You know what the reality of that, too, is... Check this out. Hypothetically, let's say he won the lottery. Let's say he won like $400 million. He would have had more problems. Because guess what? Yeah, he might have gotten the blonde princess. But guess what? She would have taken his shit. Okay? That's how that works.
To a fight with James. Feeling that James, also not having a girlfriend, would be able to sympathize, Elliot would dump all of his angry, vindictive thoughts about women and their boyfriends onto him. James did not empathize. In fact, he found what Elliot said to be disturbing. He sensed even then that something was off. He told Elliot that enough was enough, that he didn't want to hear any of this anymore. For a while, the two didn't speak. It wasn't until months later at a party that they finally met again, both being seated at the table for younger people. This only made him look even worse in front of James, as Elliot spent the whole time getting more and more angry as a young woman paid more attention to another young man at the table than she did to him.
Yeah, you know why he felt frustrated and angry? Okay, let me give you an analogy. I remember in middle school, it was a dance, and it was a slow song, and, you know, the guys have to ask the girls to dance, and I was so nervous and sweating, but I'm like, I felt the pressure of like, if I don't ask, I won't be able to slow dance this song. He didn't go through any of the stuff that we normally go through, like, during the younger years, as far as, like, getting over that fear and, like, fuck it, I'm gonna ask. What's the worst thing they could say is, no, big deal, then sit to the side. But Elliot never put himself in those situations where he felt vulnerable and had to go through his own self-fear to get over those humps in life.
Elliot decided to hop online and make an account on a website called TeenSpot, which was originally made as a forum for teenagers, but soon degraded into a horny hellscape in which teens would rate each other on looks and try to hook up. He asked other users to rate him and was devastated when he ended up getting low ratings, particularly a comment that labeled him as a 5 out of 10, ignoring the fact that others did rate him much higher, even as high as 9 out of 10. He made a post asking whether he looked more white or more Asian. When someone responded that he looked more Mexican to them, Elliot responded with outrage. An account named Hot Blondie 17 appeared on the forum and started giving more masculine men very low ratings, often remarking in disgust, especially at pictures of shirtless men. After Elliot got a 10 out of 10 rating from this user, a moderator just...
We can't get Elliot on the pod because he went on a shooting rampage in Isla Vista, Santa Barbara area, and he killed himself. Well, he got in a car wreck and died, or something happened in his BMW. He's no longer with us.
Decided to compare their IP address, showing that the user named Hot Blondie 17 was actually just Elliot using a second account. Elliot begged that moderator to delete the post calling him out. In turn, he was told to apologize to the people he insulted on that alternate account. By the time the end of May came around, Elliot just realized that he was going to need to move to Santa Barbara in only a few days. He was moving out for the first time, with strangers. This made him incredibly nervous. To his delight, there were attractive, blonde, white women walking around everywhere. He felt that, with all there were, there was no way that he wouldn't meet at least one and lose his virginity. If it wasn't happening there, it wasn't happening anywhere. The lease was all signed, and Elliot was set to move in on June 4th. Elliot was surprised that his mother wanted him to move in on exactly that date. She said she wanted to get him settled in before school started, but he felt she only wanted to push him out. Saddened, he came to feel that paying $900 a month was well worth it to her if she could get rid of him. He knew that, deep down, she wouldn't want to...
I got one more story. I don't know if this will have to do with the Elliot thing, but this is something I went through in 5th grade. Man, I had the hottest girl at my elementary school, and she said, meet me in the playground, like meet me near the sand pit, near the swings. And man, in 5th grade, guess what? I don't want to say her full name, but her name was Tika, okay? Dude, I might be dating myself, but think of like Molly, like a young Molly Ringwald. That type of face. Got into it, started doing my thing. She stopped, and it was like an outer body experience. She forced me to walk to her house because my breath smelled like shit. I had supreme shit breath. Okay? We go to her, because she lived near the school, so she goes inside her house, has a tube of toothpaste, squeezes it in on my finger, and says, can you put this in your mouth? So Elliot didn't have to go through any of that, but that's the shit we go through, all right? But that learned a valuable lesson. Brush your fucking teeth, Steve. This is real right now. All right, I forgive you, Tika, but see, Elliot didn't have to go through any of that stuff. Like, you don't think I felt rejected? Like, damn, dude, like 10 minutes ago I was in heaven. Now this chick's saying my breath smells like poo. Sorry. That's real. And she stopped talking. Like, that was it for me because of my breath. Okay. See, that's the thing. Elliot didn't have to deal with... That's the shit you have to deal with growing up. And you want, to do all this stuff and have interactions. You have to go through stuff like that too. He expected the world to come to him. No, that's not how life is. You gotta, get rejected.
to come back home and live with her again. He was out on his own now. Getting ready, Elliot started hitting the gym as much as possible in order to boost his confidence.
I don't care if you get a six-pack, bro, and you're chiseled that ain't gonna do nothing. It's all communication skills.
He took some Macy's
You can hit the
cards
gym
that he'd
all
gotten
you
for
want.
Christmas and went out to the mall to buy some clothes. After doing everything he could think of to boost his confidence and appearance, he was ready to start his new life. Little did he know, he was nearing the end of it. June 4th seemed to come around quicker than anticipated. Elliot packed up, hopped into his car, and drove off towards beautiful Santa Barbara, California. Elliot moved into his room, meeting two of the current tenants who would only be there for about a week. One of them was Artem, a student from Russia, and the other was a surfer boy. Elliot immediately felt jealous and hateful toward...
Shout out to Quinn's Comics. All I gotta say is kids' minds must grow. There you go, dude. Thank you, Mikey. Thank you, Mikey. Good looking out, Mikey. Hey, let's get on some Warzone later, brother. We got some games to play.
The surfer boy, as he was tall and blonde. Regardless, taking advantage of the fresh start, Elliot had some good conversations with these two. That very first night, though, Elliot was already letting his old self show. After all, he wasn't going to change in one day. After hearing some students partying outside, he felt a little down. Then, after hearing the upstairs neighbor having intercourse, he got even more depressed, but this depression was slowly slipping away, turning...
And I have another story. Because we've all been there too, folks. In college, my homeboy Kendall, him and his girlfriend would be in the same dorm room as me, and I would have to act like I was sleeping. Okay? And so we've been there too, as far as being in a very uncomfortable situation, because I couldn't just get up and leave. I had to pretend like I was sleeping, and I would have to wait till they were done. And I remember being curled up, looking at the wall, and just like just praying, like, please finish, guys. You know, yeah, this was at ASU, so, you know, like, I've been in situations like that. I don't know if other people have been through that, where you're in the same room and then these other people are kind of getting freaky, and then you're gonna have to really just sit there and take it.
Turning into pure jealousy and rage. Elliot's housemates often invited a friend over, Chance. Over time, Elliot's racism was only increasing in intensity, given that he was beginning to hate people from all walks of life more and more over time. Chance was black, and Elliot immediately hated him. Once Chance mentioned sleeping with a girl, Elliot angrily asked him if they were virgins or not. This question left all of the housemates bewildered, but they said that no, they weren't. When Chance said that his first girlfriend was a hot blonde girl, Elliot lost his mind, returned to the bedroom, and cried. He then called his mother and complained to her. He later wrote,
How could an inferior, ugly black boy be able to get a white girl and not me? I am...
You know why? 'Cause he had game. Something you didn't have, Elliot. He knew how to talk to the ladies. That's why.
beautiful, and I am half white myself. I am descended from British aristocracy. He is descended from slaves. I deserve it more. I tried not to believe his foul words, but they were already said, and it was hard to erase from my mind. If this is actually true, if this ugly black filth was able to have sex with a blonde white girl at the age of 13, while I've had to suffer virginity all my life, then this just proves how ridiculous the female gender is. They would give themselves to this filthy scum, but they reject me, the injustice.
Eventually, the two
Again. And no, okay, I don't want to respond to every comment, but no, I didn't choke the chicken when my roommate was getting some. That I didn't do that. Again, if I were Elliot and I met this dude and I seen him with girls or a girl, whatever, I would pick his brain. See, that's something Elliot didn't do. You gotta learn from other people, bro. You can't hate on everybody. You gotta figure out, like, what are they doing? Do they have, because they probably have some Jedi tricks or whatever knowledge you don't know.
housemates left, and Elliot was very happy to see them go after what had transpired. Then two different people moved in, Daniel and Reed. Daniel was another Russian student, while Reed was an Asian American. Elliot preferred to hang out with Daniel, finding him very talkative. The two were able to converse just fine, especially since Daniel would often initiate the conversations. This was his fresh start. It was do or die. Elliot couldn't go back to his old ways now. He needed to make it in this new environment. He likely wouldn't get another chance like this. Elliot decided to try his hand at online dating once he got settled into the area. He had a profile on OkCupid, which was surprisingly normal. Aside from fudging his height a little bit and claiming that he was 5'10" instead of 5'9", the profile was very ordinary, with Elliot simply listing his hobbies, interest, and desire to meet a girl. He made an account on Plenty of Fish as well. This one was a bit more notable. While Elliot had once again upgraded his height slightly, he also wrote that he had been in a relationship before, although modestly stating that it was less than a year. He also decided to lie about his heritage, stating that he was British, which is true, but he swapped out his Malaysian side for Japanese and added some Italian. While we can't know for sure why he did this, it's likely that he picked Japan for the cool factor, with Japanese media gaining in popularity at the time, and added Italian due to the romantic image the country tends to hold. On the first day of class, he was feeling extremely confident. First up was history. He crossed the bridge to the West Campus, head held high, feeling that all the girls around him were attracted to his new, grown-up appearance. Once he got into the classroom, he saw a lot of hot girls waiting inside, but they didn't even look at him. He had spent so much time on his appearance, and they didn't even approach him to talk to him. He didn't know what else he could do. He
didn't know what else to do. How about you try talking? Have you tried that at all through your life? Talking like a normal person?
a lot of couples walking around on State Street. Many couples. After one single day of class, Elliot was already feeling deeply discouraged. After only a few more days, he already dropped that history class. He couldn't stand seeing those hot girls talking to other men. While he felt a sense of guilt for dropping it at first, that soon turned to a sense of relief. Elliot, of course, used the internet for darker reasons as well. Around this time...
I haven't. Can I tell you guys another story? So I remember in college, there's this. I think she was in a sorority, but she was, an attractive lady, and she told me I had a class with her, and she's like, have you ever thought about joining Sigma Nu or Sigma Chi? And then what I got out of that is like, oh, she'll only accept me if I join this group. So fuck that. No.
Elliot's Google searches revealed that he began researching George Sodini, a man who, in 2009, went on a rampage, killing multiple women at his gym after repeatedly suffering failure after failure when it came to dating. Elliot took a particular interest in this idea.
So that man, we'll cover him on a future stream, but he was similar to Elliot, but this guy actually had his own. I think he was in Pennsylvania or somewhere on the East Coast where he actually had a house. Shout out to, again, Michael. You should have found Steebee'Weebie's YouTube channel. There you go, Mikey. Where he, sorry, but he was similar to Elliot. He was an older man though.
It was an idea that would stick around in his mind for quite some time. Elliot began to make a habit out of taking a few shots to ease his nerves and walking around town. He hoped that, as he walked around, someone would approach him and try to be his friend. He would hang out in cafes in the hopes that a girl would come and talk to him before he sobered up, but nobody ever did. It was now time to transfer to his permanent apartment in the area, the place he was set to stay at for at least a year. He said goodbye to Daniel and Reed, heading out. He ended up in the Capri Apartments on Seaville Road.
I actually want to do a future vlog at the Capri Apartments in Santa Barbara. I mean, for a future vlog. I think it'd be interesting if I walked around that area since we're doing all this coverage.
Hoping that his new housemates would be good friends who would improve his social life. A few days later, Peter came up to visit Elliot and check on him. They had lunch at a restaurant. Soon enough, Elliot spotted a couple sitting a few tables down. His racism once again began to show, hating that a darker-skinned Latino guy was sitting with a blonde girl. He stood up in anger, ready to pour a drink over their heads like he had done once before. However, when he locked eyes with Peter, he stopped out of embarrassment.
I mean, imagine being Elliot's father. Let's say you see your son, mad dogging another table because another dude's with a hot chick. How embarrassed would you be as a father? Wouldn't you be like, what are you doing? I mean, I'm just saying, if I was Elliot's dad, I'd be like, hey, what are you doing? Like, let's talk about this. This is not cool.
The very next day, Elliot went to the Starbucks at the Camino Real Marketplace, same as every morning. But this time he saw a couple standing in line, a couple that was kissing. The girl was, of course, blonde, and the boy was dressed in punk-style attire. Elliot grew enraged watching them kiss, staring at them all the while. Once the couple left, he followed them out to their car, trailing just behind them. He threw his hot coffee all over them. When the boy screamed, Elliot scrambled back away to his car, hopping in and driving off, all while shaking out of fear. He found a place to park and spent the next 3 hours trying to calm himself down.
See, that's when you're crossing lines. Alright, I'm sure there's people that hate, right? But dude, this motherfucker threw hot coffee at the couple? That's a ass beating, bro. What are you doing? See, that's when you cross lines. When you do stuff like that.
He wrote,
I wanted to do horrible things to that couple. I wanted to inflict pain on all young couples. It was around this point
kid would hate
that
the
I
Hallmark
realized I
Channel.
was capable
Okay.
of doing such things. I would happily do such things. I was capable of killing them, and I wanted to. The males deserve it for taking the females away from me, and the females deserve it for choosing those males instead of me.
Elliot would often gaze out his apartment window, looking down on the other students socializing in the courtyard. He wondered if the couples would be sleeping together that very night, a thought that made him furious.
If Elliot was cool, if you would have seen a hot couple, if you were a cool guy, you would look at the guy and you would be like, God, you go, boy. Good for you. But he was the opposite of that. Because, come on, guys, we've all been there, right? You see something, you're like, damn, that dude's, wow. I wonder what he's doing. Wow. It's more fascinating to me. But, not Elliot, he'll throw hot coffee on you.
Fantasized about bursting into their bedrooms while they were in the act and murdering them. At least he had the new Song of Ice and Fire book, A Dance with Dragons, to calm him down for a little while.
I just opened up this package from Amazon, and look what I found in it. George R.R. Martin, A Dance with Dragons.
See, that's positive. You should have just stayed and read more books, man. That's a positive thing. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with reading Dance with Dragons. Go ahead.
My mom just ordered me the book I've been waiting for so long.
For his birthday, Elliot went home for a few days to celebrate. He decided to hang out with Philip and Addison after not seeing them for quite some time. They hopped into Philip's car and went out to Malibu, going to a Starbucks to have a chat. He noticed that Addison had changed a lot, maturing since last time. Regardless, Elliot couldn't forgive him for that last comment he made that hurt him so deeply.
No girl in this whole world would ever wanna fuck you.
So he spent the day making passive-aggressive jabs towards Addison in the same vein. After a while of this, the two agreed to end this petty conflict for the time being. The next day, he saw James. The two went on a nostalgic walk, just like old times. Elliot once again spent the entire walk complaining about his virginity, only even more self-conscious about it now that he was 20. James told him that he did sympathize to some degree. Elliot headed back to Santa Barbara, ready to meet his two roommates, Ryan and Angel. Much to his disappointment, they were both Hispanic. He felt that this meant they would probably gang up on him, calling them rowdy and low class.
This is another thing that I just thought of. Obviously, he didn't know what to do in real life. Like, he should have just stayed at home and met a kind of like a nerdier girl that was into the same, like, into World of Warcraft and the same types of books. And through that way, it would have been less pressure, and he could have formed a relationship, because that way there's less pressure, because, you know, on Xbox Live, shout out again to Mike, looking forward to the next album, hell yeah, good looking out, Mikey. That way, it would have been less pressure on Elliot, and he could have actually gotten into a relationship. You know, I'm sure the younger generation does that, right? They're more tech savvy, or like, you know, through whatever, stuff like streaming or video games.
He went to his room and panicked. He was going to be stuck with them for a year, people he referred to as low-class scum. The two housemates started inviting their friends over, friends Elliot also didn't like. One of them asked Elliot if he was a virgin. Elliot admitted that he was without hesitation. The other men started talking about the women they had slept with. Elliot hated Angel in particular, believing that he was the ugliest of all of them, calling him an ugly animal with a pig face. He ran back to his room and started punching the wall, causing the others to laugh at his bizarre reaction. The next day, Elliot confronted Angel, telling him about how superior he himself was and that he was very low class. Angel, after that insult, came after him, but
I mean, I went to ASU for almost a decade. Not once did I meet a person that talked in this manner. Like, it's really bizarre behavior as far as Elliot's reactions to, like, situations. Very bizarre.
Ryan stopped him and told the two to cut it out. Elliot once again ran back into his room and called his mom. She agreed to help him move to a different room. This new room would only have one housemate, but he'd have to wait a few weeks. Elliot drove back to Topanga to get away for a while, visiting Jane.
Hey, I'm seeing some comments about my album. I really appreciate it. So go to steebeeweebee.bandcamp.com and to kind of link this in with the Elliot thing. You don't think I have, like, past incel lines in some of my music? That's another way to channel some of your frustrations is... And how about this? Elliot was a good writer. How about you write a book about your struggles, man? That way other motherfuckers could learn from it. And guess what? Next thing you know, you're at Barnes & Noble's doing a book signing, meeting females. Hello?
They went out to eat. As soon as some high school couples walked in, James muttered, "We're fucked," as he knew Elliot would probably flip out. James tried to calm him down before he dumped a drink on their heads, pointing out a nearby security guard. Elliot then left in a huff. This day really poisoned their friendship, and Elliot didn't understand why James was even angry. Elliot started telling James about all the ways he wanted to kill those boys. He wanted to skin them alive and hear their agonized screams. James's mood changed from angry to disgusted.
Who says that? That's some really dark shit. He wants to skin them? What are you talking about, bro?
Then Elliot broke down and started to cry in front of him. He left the house, crying all the way.
So you notice a pattern kind of formulating here? Anytime he would see another dude with a girl, he would A, cry, and B, call his mom. Come on, dude.
James never invited him over again. It was finally time for Elliot to move into his new apartment. He was mainly just glad he'd never have to see Ryan and Angel again, although he feared running into them by chance. Santa Barbara was turning out to be just like Moore Park. He was still alone, still afraid to approach others, still having tantrums, and still staring at young couples in a jealous rage.
And let me tell you something. If I were his roommate, I would just need a week. I would need 1 week, and because, dude, this motherfucker's living under the same roof as me. I would have to inspect all his behaviors, figure out if this is going to work out. And guess what? As soon as I spotted, like, the red flags, I would go to, the management, the front desk, and I'd be like, I want to transfer. Now, this motherfucker's crazy. I don't, you know?
Math was his next class to drop. He didn't even want to go into the library anymore after seeing
Elliot
a couple kiss
needs
there.
better help.
Elliot was able to make a
Stop it.
single friend organically while sitting around in the apartment courtyard, an international student from China named Andy Chan. Andy seemed to share the same desire to hang out and make friends that he did. Elliot found him intelligent and interesting enough to be worthy of his friendship, so he would continue to hang out with him every once in a while, usually going out to eat or just walking around. From time to time, Andy would even introduce Elliot to his friends. But despite finally making some potential friendships, Elliot didn't treasure them. He still felt lonely and inferior. Getting some friends didn't get him any closer to finding a girlfriend, so he never opened up to them or considered them to be true friends in his mind.
See, if I were Elliot, I would bond with Andy Chan. Is that his name? That would have been my homeboy. I'd been like, yo, let's get some Chinese food, dog. Let's go here, let's go. That would have been my road dog, you know? But Elliot was just, he was a hater, okay? I'll say that. Elliot Rodger was a hater.
He soon fell back into an old vice, booting up World of Warcraft once again. He played non-stop for a month until his new housemate arrived, Spencer. In casual conversation, Spencer mentioned having a girlfriend. Needless to say, Elliot couldn't have a friendship with him after that. He didn't understand why all of these boys he saw as ugly were getting girls while he couldn't. Spencer was even shorter than Elliot.
You know why they were getting girls? Because they actually talked to them, Elliot. I mean, you would think he's an intelligent guy, right? Like, this guy, like, he probably got good grades. He was a good writer. He liked reading books. Like, and you don't know that? You didn't figure that out? You need to talk to to gain any kind of relationship or to get some kind of social interactions going?
Spending so much time blaming his own height for his lack of attention,
sorry, it's just
he was
frustrating.
flabbergasted. He concluded that this girlfriend must be extremely unattractive. That could be the only explanation to him. This calmed him down a little bit. More than hating Spencer as a person, Elliot hated having someone around that could see how pathetic his life was. Normally, he could play it cool in public at least, but Spencer was able to see who he really was when he dropped the cool facade. He knew it was only a matter of time before Spencer realized he never had any girls over. While it's very likely...
Who cares? How about this? Get a single dorm room or a single apartment where you don't live with anybody. I'm sure your mom could have afforded that as well, right? And B, no one cares. Like, do you think people care, like, who's bringing who to your room or what they're doing? It's like, they're not really thinking about you, Elliot, like that. As long as you don't fuck with their shit.
Spencer wouldn't have even cared. This caused Elliot to hate him in advance. Elliot got some money from his mom to go out and buy even more clothes, spending as much as $200 on a single pair of jeans. He then got some more shirts and a pair of Hugo Boss sneakers. This made him feel pretty high class, and it wasn't long before he developed an obsession with his appearance. He had a good income stream coming in from the money that his mom and both of his grandmothers were sending him, giving ample fuel to keep his obsession running.
You know, I put a lot of effort into dressing nice. These sunglasses here, they were $300. Giorgio Armani. See, I'll put them on. See? Hold on. Card.
I don't care how expensive your sunglasses are, pal. You know, a true G would be able to get girls with $3 sunglasses. That's when you know a motherfucker's a G. You'll be like, damn, you got those at the swap meet? And you got Tina, Brittany, and Jennifer? You're going on dates with all them?
See? Look at how fabulous I look.
Elliot went home for Thanksgiving. At one of the usual get-togethers, James was there. Elliot was puzzled. He asked him why he still seemed so upset over an argument that occurred a few months prior. James told him, keep your proximity. Elliot was furious. Christmas came around with the same results. James wasn't quite as standoffish as before, but there was still a noticeable drift between the two. Elliot said goodbye to James for the final time. The two would never see each other again. Elliot flew back to England to visit his grandma, Alma, for Christmas. She gave him a gold 22-carat necklace. Elliot loved it. This was perfectly in line for his new high-class fashion lineup. From then on, he wore it every day. Although the trip was nice, Elliot couldn't escape his usual thoughts. There were a lot of blonde girls in England after all. He wondered how different his life would have been if he hadn't ever moved to the United States. He didn't acknowledge that he would still be himself.
Look at this life of privilege, y'all. I'll tell you another story. Like, shout out to my homeboy Jamil, ASU. We didn't have much even back then. We were broke as fuck. I would have to sneak into the community refrigerator just to look for food. And like the homies, we all managed, you know, to at least talk to girls or, you know.
Regardless, feeling that the environment might be to blame. Everything was turning out to be the exact opposite of what Elliot had wanted. His first semester was nearly over and he had failed in all of his goals. He would rather die than fail again. But deep down, he knew that if he were going to die, he wanted to get some sort of revenge first. He didn't want to, but he felt like he had to, at least at this point in time. He spent a week at his mom's house before heading back to Santa Barbara. He was ready to give life another try, albeit less motivated this time around. He met up with Philip and Addison, hiking up to the iconic hall.
Pirate your own games, dude. I had like NBA Live or something, and then my homeboy Jamil had Street Fighter, and we made do, you know.
Hollywood sign and watching the sunset. They then went to the Getty Museum. This was when a few girls started checking Addison out. Elliot, getting jealous, asked Philip if any girls seemed to be checking him out.
With his mom.
Philip didn't notice any that were, so Elliot began to cry and left the two others there, running out of the museum. He ended up back in Santa Barbara soon enough, ready to try and build some confidence again. Now he had the designer clothes, shoes, and necklace to show off. He was even trying to return to his British accent, feeling a bit more suave. He hoped the girls would take notice. Despite living with Spencer, the two barely talked, although they remained cordial. That was until Spencer brought a girl over. Elliot was enraged, jealous, and even ready to fight. But, to his relief, he noticed that it was a girl he didn't find attractive. He couldn't let it in there, though. That night, he confronted Spencer, saying he shouldn't be proud for being with a, quote, ugly whore. Spencer became quite angry, understandably, and their casual friendship was forever ruined.
What a hater. Did you hear that? His roommate brought over a girl, something Elliot has never done. And then after the girl leaves, he makes fun of Spencer for, like, saying, oh, she's ugly, blah, blah. It's like, at least he had the balls to do shit and bring a girl over. What'd you do, pal? Sit in your room and cry, call your mom?
The second semester started. Elliot rolled up to class with an Armani Exchange shirt and some new Gucci sunglasses his mother bought him.
You know, a real friend, if I were Spencer's roommate, I'd be like, I would dap him up like, dude, good for you, dude. You had someone over here last night? Good for you. You did great, pal. You did some fucking great magical shit. Good for you, Spencer. That's the difference, okay? You gotta learn. You gotta encourage.
For the first month, he attended class regularly without dropping anything, but his confidence soon wavered as girls still didn't approach him. There was a beautiful girl in his math class named Brittany. Elliot, unable to approach her, decided to stalk her on Facebook instead. He was devastated
Ain't
to
gonna
find that she
happen,
had a
Elliot.
boyfriend, a tall, muscular guy with a buzz cut. He shouted out, screaming and crying to the point where Spencer could hear him. It was then that he repeated his old pattern of dropping the
Someone said I was definitely pounding his pud. You know what? That's crazy you would say that, because I think if he maybe would have masturbated more, he could have prevented this from all happening. I don't know. I'm not referring to the entirety of the whole thing. What's going on, S. Lip? Hey, Steve, you rock, bud. Shout out to S. Lip at Zealandia, Saskatchewan, Canada. Shout out to Canada. We got Canada in here, folks. But, I lost my train of thought. Sorry, guys.
class. He was finished with math. He couldn't stomach being in the room with a cute girl who had a boyfriend. He lost all hope for his life in Santa Barbara. His life wasn't changing, and neither was he. Elliot accepted that he was, more than likely, going to be a virgin forever at this rate. He felt as if he would suffer humiliation like this for the rest of his life. He felt that something must be wrong with the girls themselves. Something about their sense of attraction must be broken. Once that thought creeped into his head, it was all downhill from there.
Yeah.
Elliot, after reading what he had read about George Sodini, started to consider carrying out a violent revenge plot on his own. He felt that he had to lash out in some way due to these self-perceived injustices. He began to call this plot his Day of Retribution. If he couldn't have the life that the other students had, he would simply
Shout out to my main man, Joseph Menabat, for Ritz crackers and pepperoni at Ralph's. Good looking out, Joseph.
kill them all instead. He dropped all of his spring classes, now seeing the Day of Retribution as his most realistic path. He wrote the plans out in his diary, but he tore the pages out in fear that someone might see them. Thinking about these plans made him feel trapped. Part of him wanted to do it, but part of him didn't.
You know what's crazy? I didn't mean to cut off this retribution letter of this evil intent, but dude, you're in Santa Barbara, bro. If you're not getting girls, aren't you by the beach, bro? Pick up your surfboard. Let's get active, because that could have really kind of done something to his spirits. Like if he got good at surfing, I don't know. Maybe nothing would have helped. I'm just saying, if I were in Santa Barbara and I wasn't getting any girls, skate park, find out where the skate shop is, surf shop, go to the beach, find out some activities, whatever. Video games.
He hoped that there was some other path that he just wasn't seeing. He went home for the weekend in March. On Sunday, March 11th, 2012, Elliot went with his mother and his sister to a Katy Perry concert. He felt that going to another exclusive event might up his confidence once again. He spent a lot of time in the background, taping the concert on his phone. The next day, he even got to go with Peter and Sumaya to the red carpet premiere of The Hunger Games, an even more exclusive event. This movie was very highly anticipated after all. Peter had worked on the film as a second-unit director, becoming friends with the director himself, Gary Ross, scoring his family some seats at the premiere. At that same time, Sumaya was filming a French reality show called Les Vraies Housewives. The two were getting fairly connected within the industry. Elliot took this as a chance to smugly smile at the fans on the sidelines, feeling he was rubbing his presence in their faces. Now that Elliot had dropped all of his classes and obligations, he had nothing to do. He had nothing but time. He started trying to find more ways to become a millionaire. Feeling that he was, in his own words, an extraordinary, magnificent person destined for great things, he felt that destiny would put the money right into his pockets. He couldn't think of any way to make this happen, though. This left only one choice, more lottery tickets. Seeing the current Mega Millions jackpot,
I just know I need to win this lottery. How else would I get rich? I need money to make money. If there is any justice in this world, I will win this. I deserve it more than anyone. See, this is going back to the self-entitlement here. Like, why? Out of everyone, there's a lot of humans on this earth. Like, you think you deserve that?
he saw dollar signs in his eyes. He decided to spend all of his remaining money on lottery tickets, although he would set aside $5,000 just in case he needed to carry out the day of retribution after all. This gave him roughly $1,000 to spend on lottery tickets. He still did not win, but he knew that the more tickets he bought, the better his chances would be. Even then, he still didn't win. 3 other people did, but not him. He tried to contact James in order to confide in him, but James had officially ended their friendship. He messaged him on Facebook to voice his complaints about this, but James told him, plain and simple, that he didn't want to be his friend any longer. Elliot just couldn't understand why. This was the last time they ever spoke. Now Elliot really had no friends, neither at Santa Barbara nor back at home.
You know what I realized too is if he was born maybe 50 years later, I'm just saying because when, like, as far as the robot era, he could have probably dated a robot. But unfortunately, yeah, he was born when he was born. I'm just saying that wouldn't have fixed him, but at least I'm guessing if he would have asked his mom or dad, like, hey, I haven't talked to a female my whole life. I haven't dated, I haven't kissed. Because this guy, he's never even kissed a girl.
Well.
Okay.
Somebody's crashing the live stream. It's happening, brother. It's happening.
right,
Another angle.
We're doing a Elliot Rodger.
Oh, I've been watching in my car, brother.
So what are your thoughts on this?
Man, this guy, this is woo.
Go ahead, man. There's a mic here.
There's a lot going on. Here, get
Let me
Here.
get another chair.
Get another chair.
No, you're good.
Can I raise this cam up a little bit? Is it okay if I do a little bit of this? Oh, there we go. Oh, of course your Scissor Bro showed up, baby.
Okay.
You told me that Thursdays
All right.
was the new hot time on the YouTube
All right.
channels, baby.
This is some scissors for Elliot.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
and 10. So, what are your thoughts on? So you've been watching Elliot.
I've been watching.
What are your thoughts on, like, what you have been his friend? Shout out to Eric for $4.99. Love you so much.
That's more pepperoni and Ritz crackers on that guy.
So what are your thoughts on him? Like what do you have done different if you're Elliot?
Well, first of all, I was watching you talk about how he's a little incelish, how he called out that guy for finally hooking up with a chick.
Keep going. This is good stuff.
And saying that that she wasn't an ugly whore. Or
I like what you're doing.
that.
Let me grab you a sparkling water. I like what you're doing here. I didn't really think you were gonna come over.
Oh, dude!
Wow.
I said so. Steve told me a while ago, guys. He's like, I'm starting to do live streams on Thursday, and he casually was like, you know, if you're ever around or whatever. Oh wow, Waterloo strawberry.
See, Elliot wouldn't have offered that.
No, Elliot definitely wouldn't have offered that.
Elliot wouldn't have offered a Waterloo.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So anyway, let's see a little bit more. Let's I can't believe you're here. Hey man, look at this is the chat.
Hey,
this is OBS.
Hey, so one thing I have to ask you about.
Yeah.
Just the
Take
way
it
you're
easy.
live.
Think about it though, dude. We're live.
Okay.
We can't edit this out.
Get in the
I'm just
frame,
saying,
brother.
just think about it because we can't edit anything
Okay, we
out.
can't edit anything out.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
So how often do you read the chat when people aren't tipping you?
All right, that's something I wish I would have edited out. I actually,
There's
surprisingly,
requests. I'm just saying, it's a live show.
Surprisingly, I look at it a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
because
like
it
last
took quite
week-
a few messages for
No,
me to
no,
break through.
no,
for me to say like, I'm headed over.
No,
I'm
absolutely
coming, make
not.
sure your gate's
I'm always
open.
looking to the right. I'm always looking to the right.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
just saying. All right.
Okay, let's.
James was done with him, and Elliot
Whenever
had no
you feel
desire
like
to see Philip
commentating,
and Addison after crying in front of them in
press the
public.
space bar.
He was more
This is
alone
great.
than
Hey,
ever.
cheers, man.
Hey,
I can't
cheers.
believe it. What a
Elliot walked
reunion,
aimlessly throughout Birch Park until he came across a group of college kids playing kickball in the grass. They looked like jocks, the kinds of men he hated the most.
All right.
Worse than that, they had some attractive
Yeah,
blonde
buddy.
girlfriends on the
candy right there,
sidelines.
too, if you want
One
some.
of these
Thank you.
girls was
This is
even
for
showing her
podcast.
bare stomach. Elliot was both aroused and enraged. He couldn't
I mean, was he a good-looking guy though? I mean, he was a pretty good-looking.
He's a
Right?
good, all right.
He wasn't
looking guy.
ugly.
He wasn't ugly. Yeah.
I'm just saying
He could have gotten girls. He definitely could have gotten girls. If you and I can
Say
get
it
girls,
towards the mic. Say it towards.
if Steve and I can get girls, that guy can get girls.
Hey, hallelujah, brother.
Steve and I are both.
Hallelujah, brother.
Steve and I are both
Yeah.
in relationships. Okay.
But the thing is, that is so truthful.
Yeah.
Because we're not the cool jock, good-looking Sigma Chi guys. Okay?
Right. We're not Cobra
Yeah.
Kai. We're not Sigma Chi.
handle these
We're
emotions.
Scissor.
So he drove out to Kmart. He bought a Super Soaker water gun, filled it up with some orange juice, and went back to the park.
So somebody just said,
He let-
"Can Jeremiah even hear?" So here's what's funny about this whole thing.
Yeah, but
Steve
wait.
has an earbud in, but it's also playing through the speakers in his room, so I can hear what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeremiah could hear because I have a speaker right here. That I got these are nice on Guitar Center.
They're great. They're
like
great.
24.
They're like studio
yeah,
monitor.
Yeah. I
They're
got these
awesome.
at Guitar Center. Yeah.
So, question: Why
Yeah.
do you have this in?
Because I was talking to my girl earlier, and she was helping. Like at the beginning, she helps me out. Like, yeah,
Gotcha.
I'll take it off.
Coaching
I'm
you
sorry.
through it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
let
okay.
out a scream as he
Oh, shout out to Angie. Good looking out, Angie and Eric. We love you.
Love ya.
sprayed all of them with the juice. The boys started to scream at him and run towards him, once again causing Elliot to run to his car and flee the scene. He drove away.
So there's kids just minding their own business. He goes to Kmart and buys a Super Soaker, and sprays them with orange juice.
Orange juice?
Now, if you were playing, because you like basketball, right?
I love basketball.
Let's say you're playing a basketball game and some guy was mad at you because there's a couple girls playing with you too, and they soak you with orange juice. What would you do?
I'd be pretty upset. Orange juice is sticky.
But would you attack him?
I'd be like, what are you doing, man?
No, seriously, you wouldn't do that.
Hey!
no,
Yeah.
be real.
If
What would
somebody
you really
squirted
do?
me with orange juice in
Yeah.
the face, I'd be a little upset.
Not just your face, your whole body.
Oh, I'd be really upset.
All
yeah.
right, fair
I'd be
enough.
really upset.
Away, worried that some cameras at the park might have
Shout out to Joseph Manabat
Oh, shout out to James Davis saying, hungry, mungry,
for
baby.
the effort for joining the stream. Hell yeah, dog. Every Thursday, baby.
recorded the whole thing. Back at home, Spencer was complaining to the management about Elliot's outbursts. He filed a formal complaint saying that Elliot,
Oh, the
quote,
lighting's
has
good.
huge psychological issues
Oh.
and severe emotional problems, calling
Oh, we
him
pause
a
every
ticking time
6
bomb
seconds
waiting
around
to
here.
explode. Spencer requested that either he or
Yeah.
Elliot be moved to a new room as soon
Oh,
as humanly
yeah.
possible to avoid further conflict.
Dude, Elliot.
Elliot
man.
was all set to be transferred to a room in the main complex of the
By
They're
the way-
saying, Jillian says challenge. Challenge.
They like the challenges. Dude,
You know one thing? We didn't do anything with boogers. We never did a booger challenge.
you always wanted to. You wanted to do a booger eating challenge or something, but we never
Hey,
did that
you
one.
said it, pal.
Capri apartments for the next
I will say,
Yeah, go ahead.
Steve's setup is rather impressive. I'm not lying. I'm really proud of you for
Yeah.
the setup. He's running it through OBS. Like, we're watching this YouTube video. Like, do you have YouTube Premium?
Yes.
You do. So there's no ads on the live stream.
Pretty observant.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not a frugal bros move, but I appreciate it that you're doing it for the top tier quality content.
Steve, go to the red zone. I don't think I want to go to the red
No,
zone.
you don't want to
Yeah,
see
because
Steve
I'm
in the
having a
red
good time.
zone.
I haven't seen you. in a
Yeah.
while. Is there anything you
Big
wanna...
Gator says, "Notice me. I love you."
What's up, Gator?
What's up, dude?
Is there anything you want to promote? Do you have a live, a comedy live? Don't you have
A stand up on the
a
spot.
stand up on the spot?
Well, we do those like. Well,
But did you want to
yeah.
promote some like? Check out stand up on the spot.
Well, yeah, those are like ongoing episodes. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
Though. Yeah.
year.
Oh!
He didn't really care much
Oh,
about
we'll watch
what
some-
his
Yeah,
life
yeah,
would be
yeah.
after.
I'm trying to get through because
He
this
figured
is
he would
this is
win the
part
lottery
2, so
before
this is
that
how much I have
anyway.
left.
How
His
much
new
left?
place turned out to be the first room he stayed at by pure chance, apartment number 7 on
How-
Seville Street.
You're trying to get through that
Elliot
tonight?
went out and bought 5 more
Boy,
lottery
I
tickets,
interrupt-
feeling
I-
that this would be
This is
the
the
day.
thing is because I need to make it transformative. I need to make it transformative, so I have to once in a while. I have, you know what I mean? But let's let it
This
play for
might be
yeah.
the day he
And
finally
then I have
won.
something-
He saw the winner was from California.
See, we keep pausing. We're trying to get through this Elliot
We're trying to
Rodger
get- we're
shit,
trying to
man.
get there. I'm sorry,
yeah,
guys.
yeah.
But can I, after we watch for a little bit, can I drop an exclusive that hasn't been said anywhere that'll be just for your live stream?
Yeah, feel
Okay.
free.
Okay.
Right? You want to wait or
Nelson
do you want
gotta
to
watch.
get
Hunger and anxiety
Shout out to
flew
Ryan
through him,
RZ.
but
Whoa,
it
heck
wasn't
yeah.
him.
Hell yeah, Ryan.
He went home and flew into a tantrum, screaming and crying for hours and hours. Nobody else was in the apartment, so he took this chance to let all of his rage out, swinging around a toy sword and a pocket knife as he screamed in agony. He drank an entire bottle of wine at once, getting him so
like the
drunk that he
stock
spilled the
footage that they
remainder
use.
of his drink
Oh,
on
yeah.
his laptop,
Yeah.
ruining it. He sobbed into his pillow until the alcohol put him to sleep. 2 new housemates moved in, a curly-haired boy named Chris and an Asian-American boy named John. He was content with these 2. They were quiet and friendly enough.
Now, if Chris was your roommate and you didn't get any girls, and the first week he moved in, he got a girl in the apartment, would you be jealous?
I think it'd be hard not to be jealous if you'd been actively.
No, but Elliot hasn't tried. Like, let's say you haven't even been trying.
Oh, and then I guess you don't have the right to be jealous if you're
There
not
you
even
go.
trying.
See? There you go.
Enough.
Yeah.
Even better, they didn't have any friends over. They played video games all day like he did. Elliot debated on setting the day of retribution for Halloween of 2013. It would indeed give him time to plan, but he decided it would be a bad idea. There were simply too many cops out on Halloween night. One shot from them would bring his plans to an untimely end. He didn't attend classes at all that fall, lying to his parents that he was attending as normal. He stayed in his
Isn't it
room,
great?
brooding,
Yeah, baby.
sleeping,
Alright,
and
Yeah,
thinking.
baby.
He felt as if he were at a fork
The
in the
boys
road.
are back
He
in
was either going to get rich by
town!
chance or
Back in
carry out
town!
his
What's
revenge
up,
plot.
Tweak? I'll
In
be
his
on
mind,
later.
It had to be one or
Oh,
the other.
heck yeah.
Elliot once again tried to win the lottery. The Powerball jackpot was very high. He just knew that this time would be the time that he won. The only way he
thinks he's
could get
gonna
a
win
ticket in
the
time
lottery?
is if he
So, if you were a virgin and you didn't get girls and you won the lottery, would you be able to get girls?
Well, yeah. So
drove to
that's his
Arizona
goal.
then and
Yeah.
there. So he
Rather
did.
than be outgoing
Yeah,
and work on his
exactly.
personality.
Yeah,
that brought
yeah.
him to this point. The suffering, the loneliness, the frustration.
Yeah, this guy's a
it would all
douche.
be over once he got that jackpot. He
Talking about
finally
his
would have a
expensive
worry-free life with a
sunglasses.
Oh, yeah.
beautiful, blonde, white girlfriend. He would have such a high status that everyone would finally envy him instead. But he didn't win. He accepted defeat. He drove out to a park and cried in his car for hours on end.
Oh my
He called both
goodness.
of his parents, telling them about all of his woes. He felt they must be so ashamed of him. That was it. He felt that the only option left would be to carry out his day of retribution. Now that he wasn't going to get rich, the idea was more real than it had ever been. Elliot desired to buy a gun, but he worried his previous diagnosis of autism would prevent him from doing so.
So
he had
does he have
applied for
autism?
SSI benefits, which was
No.
a
It's
supplemental form of
self-diagnosed.
income for people in the U.S.
He didn't talk to anybody. He expected girls to come up to him his whole life. Okay, that's the problem. I mean, I brought up a middle school dance. Like, you had to ask a girl to dance, right? Growing
Yeah,
up.
no, scary. But
That's
you
what I'm
had to
saying.
do
It's
it.
scary.
You had
It's
to
a
do
scary
it, because you
thing.
might get shot down.
Exactly,
But
but
the
you
worst
need-
thing is if you don't ever even ask at all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
who suffer from either mental or physical health problems that make full-time work difficult. In order to apply, he needed to make his diagnosis known to the government.
You're good at
However,
this.
none of this would
This is
prevent
only
him
my,
from
like,
buying a
6th or
weapon.
7th
That
one.
could
You're
be
good at it.
because he
I'm
never had
trying.
any official diagnosis, according to his father. Elliot went out to a gun shop called Galetta Gun & Supply, deciding on a Glock 34 pistol. He signed all the papers and was told that he could pick it up in December. He eventually got it, bringing it back to his room.
We never did
He felt a
gun
sense of power as he marveled at his purchase.
We're afraid
I'm
of
just-
maybe getting demonetized
I'm
for
just
that.
saying, we've done we electrocuted each other,
Uh-huh.
but we never. Thank God we didn't do that. They scare me.
Yeah.
Said,
Who's the alpha male now, bitches?
That sounds
He
like
didn't go to the
something
usual-
that you might say when you read Zone.
All right, let's continue the video.
family Christmas party. James wasn't his friend, so he had no reason to. It would have just been awkward. He did go visit Alma again, but refused to go out on the town with his family. Instead, he drank a whole bottle of wine, becoming plastered by the time they all came back. He met up with Grandma Jinx, who asked all sorts of questions about his life. He pretended all was well. He couldn't let her know what a failure he truly was. He didn't want to be that shameful grandson. This trip would be one of the last parts of his life he could even enjoy. As the plane flew back over LA, he fantasized about being a god, looking down upon the whole city. He imagined destroying them all with some kind of supernatural power. This would be a fun...
Okay, we gotta read that comment.
You read it.
Okay, it says, this is from Kermit Frug. I feel like Stevie and Jeremiah still need babysitters. What the frick?
conversation with James, he thought, until he realized that they weren't friends anymore. It was now New Year's Eve. Elliot was back to staying at his mom's.
Somebody just
you
said,
can't-
"Is this a sleepover? Only one bed, guys."
We've slept in the same.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
House.
do you remember that one time you went to take a shower and I got and then I got naked and then you slapped my butt? See, Elliot never got to experience.
Elliot never got to experience camaraderie on the road.
Elliot didn't have a friend like that.
Lonely and miserable.
he needed
He had
one.
nothing to do
He
but
needed a
think.
friend.
Yeah.
He was afraid to die, but he didn't want to live like this any longer. He found it preferable to being a virgin forever in the end. He went back to Santa Barbara, once again signing up online for classes just to please his parents, with no intention of actually going.
If you were him, there's a lot of, especially the campus, there's a lot of girls there. Do you think you could have met a girl?
On campus?
Yeah.
Yeah. See? And that's our
them.
point.
Instead, he
That's our
decided to go
point.
out to Arizona and buy some more lottery tickets. He was living in a fog at this point. He didn't even consider how low his chances of winning were. He did it anyway.
Coming over,
In
man.
fact, he
I
did
don't
this
think-
3
I don't
times,
think
driving
I
up to
can do
Arizona
this.
every time
I'm
to do
actually
so.
part 3.
But again,
Oh,
he lost
you're
each and
definitely
every
doing a part
time.
3.
He wrote,
I mean, look at that.
Any hope I had of becoming wealthy at a young age was finally and indefinitely
Shout out to Jillian Sandoval. Love watching the dark shit with the Scissor Bros thing. Thanks for making my week, y'all. Hell yeah.
2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
Scissoring away any negativity.
Shattered.
Wait, can I
It
tell
fully
them?
dawned
Can I
on me that-
do
Yeah,
the
yeah,
exclusive?
do your thing. Do your thing.
I'm gonna play
Hold
a
up.
video. This video's not out anywhere. You
Shout
get
out. Oh, what happened here? Shout out to Ivan Armenta. Why aren't you at the riots vlogging, Steve? I'll get there. I'll make my way there. I just don't know where to go. Somewhere.
The life I had envisioned for myself would never come to pass. The children I would have in the future with a beautiful blonde girlfriend ceased to
I'm actually scared to go out and have you seen the riots? Because someone's saying, why aren't I?
I haven't gone downtown.
But that's where the shit's going
Yeah,
down.
that's where it's
Yeah,
going
yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Listen. This is an exclusive, and people have been asking for a while, all right? I was planning on releasing this tomorrow
Yeah.
on Instagram, but you guys, the live stream, the Stevie lovers, you guys get the exclusive. People have been asking for Steve and I, obviously, to do more podcasts and stuff together. We get that all the time. We did something that we posted a little bit about, but it's actually going to come out on the 23rd of June. And
okay, gotcha. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we
Say
did
that
it
again?
on the 23rd of June.
Yeah.
Coriano Loco and
Oh,
Shanks
I heard about that guy.
had a little reunion at the Comedy Store.
Whoa, he came by?
He came by, and I'm going to play you guys
Oh, no.
a 15-second teaser, okay? And you guys get the exclusive. Can you see this? Let's see. Here, wait. I'll turn down my brightness. 1 second. Is that better? Oh, that's kind of better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let
Is that better?
me
Can I
tilt
turn on the
it.
light? Like that?
Okay, this is. I'm just gonna find it, and I'm finding it so it's not too reflective.
What about going east to west?
Oh wait. Well, if it'll, I don't know if it will let me. No, it won't let me. Okay, this should work. Yeah, this should work. You're seeing a little bit of in the screen, but okay, here we go.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, here we go. Oh,
Oh, here we go.
whoa, there it
Oh,
is, dude.
yeah, Shanks and Loco. Wow,
Look
I
at
haven't
this.
seen them in a while.
I know.
Wow.
Dude, look at-
Tune in for that, y'all.
Look at this good-looking guy. Look at this
He
guy.
kind of looks like me.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
baby. Yeah.
All right, tune in for that. June 29th,
23rd.
23rd.
exist, as if they were murdered.
Right,
There won't be any beautiful blonde girlfriend for me now. No girl would be my girlfriend unless I had great wealth. I learned that from my life of being rejected. I was doomed to a life of lonely virginity.
Elliot spent most of his time at home. He couldn't handle seeing the couples outside anymore. He decided to focus his mind on something else for a while, editing Wikipedia. A lot of his efforts centered around painting his grandfather George's entry in a more positive light, something he received multiple warnings for. He also repeatedly attempted to remove photos attached to Wikipedia's entry on foot job, making it known that he likely had a fascination with women.
See, we didn't do a foot job challenge.
A foot job challenge? No, but we did toe Jenga.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
also
we
attempted
did.
to remove
That's
all
the
the
one.
text
I
from Justin
actually
Bieber's
won that
entry
one, I
to
believe.
no avail.
Although you won 90% of
Elliot
them.
started uploading more and more videos to
Oh,
his
look at his car,
YouTube channel.
BMW.
Most of these videos drastically shifted back
So he
and
had really
forth
rich
between
parents.
Elliot ranting and lamenting about his troubles and bragging
What happened
about
to
his greatness.
Brendan?
I'm
hold
polite.
up.
Whoa.
Shout out to Larry Falcon. Sex is super dope. But even dudes that slay are only doing it an hour a day. This dude should have attended his statistics course. Love you both, Stevie and Jerry. Stay murder free, y'all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Whoa.
Dad?
Home One Life.
Home One Life.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I have to make an announcement. I don't know if we can get through this whole second part, guys.
There's
we might
no
have
way.
we might have to do a part 3, Elliot Rodger.
There's a part
I apologize
3.
because
That's a part 3.
there might be a part 3. I'm just saying we'll see what we could do.
I'm the ultimate gentleman. I mean, look at me. I'm gorgeous. I dress nice. I'm sophisticated. I'm magnificent. I've been doing a lot of thinking about how sad and unfair my life has been. All because girls haven't been attracted to me. I've been going through college for 2.5 years now. And in those 2.5 years, I've had to rot in bleak and sad loneliness.
He doesn't approach women though?
While other guys...
He's never tried to talk. He
thinks that they-
expected them to come to him.
He thinks he's that good looking that the women are just coming to him?
You said it.
Ain't gonna happen, brother.
get to enjoy all the pleasures of, sex and socializing and partying. I've never had...
When's the first time you approached a female or like kissed a girl?
Ooh. Oh man. I mean, I had like very innocent like little girlfriends, like summer camp girlfriends and stuff like that. I kissed one of them on the cheek. That was like in, middle school or something like that. I was a late bloomer. You know that about me, brother.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Oh,
the
yeah.
honesty. Here we
And
go.
it
Thank
takes
you for
that.
sharing.
People,
Because no girls
you'll like
give me
this.
a
People, I always have a big nose.
It's fine though. You're a
People
handsome
have called
guy.
me a fin cell
You're. Oh. But hey,
because
dude.
the shark fin.
But you didn't struggle like you
No.
didn't you go to the dances?
I went to all the dances. I even if I didn't have dates, I'd go to the dances and I'd have fun and dance.
There you go. But when's the first time you actually, not on the cheek, but a real kiss with a girl?
Like a real kiss.
Like a real kiss, yeah.
Oh man, it wasn't until I was like 21, bro. You guys can watch my incel documentary after this, baby.
There you go. That's for your
It
honesty.
was, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
like
wow.
a true one.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Chance.
lips and all.
No girl at my college has ever expressed any interest in me. And every single day, I have to be insulted by the sight of all these lesser men walking around with beautiful girls. It's not fair.
He made an alternate YouTube account called
How
Valtherion
did you
around this
find
time
this
as well,
video?
mainly using the
What are you
account to post.
talking about? This is
How
Dire
did you-
Trip. This is a great channel. What are you
I
talking
know,
about?
but how do you find this?
I love watching stuff like this. It fascinates me. Yeah, this is on YouTube, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anonymous troll comments without using his main account. A lot of his comments went beyond mere trolling and tended to more show off his true colors, such as,
Lol, your last name is Gonzalez. That means your dad is probably a gardener or a construction site laborer. And you're calling Swifty sad? Haha, shut up, you Mexican scum.
on a video of a laughing baby.
See, that deserves an ass kicking right there, dude. Dude, you can't be saying nothing. What are you talking about, pal? In LA, dude? Nah, ain't gonna happen, bro.
He commented,
That thing is not beautiful. It's one of the ugliest babies I've ever seen. Can't help but wonder how much meth this stupid bitch smoked while she was pregnant to create that monstrosity.
He also used
You
his
know, I wanted to have empathy towards Elliot, but when I didn't know he said shit like this.
Yeah,
You're
that's
fucking
rough.
attacking kids, bro, like babies.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Hey, do you still do the Lucy or Zins? Do you do any of those?
Yeah, do you got some?
Not
No, I
on
got-
me,
no,
but
I got this.
I forgot.
No, it's fine.
But I'll
don't
next
worry
time I
about it.
see
No,
you,
it's
I'll
fine.
bring you some.
It's fine.
account to live out a fantasy life in which he was tall, strong, intimidating, respected, and admired.
You're the one trolling here. You won't even show your ugly face. I am the superior one. If you saw me in real life right now, you would cower under a rock. Ha 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 ha. I am a very beautiful man. And white people worshipped me at school. They all looked at me with envy when I pulled up in my BMW. My family is very rich, and I will impregnate lots of beautiful blonde white women and create superior Eurasian children who will grow up with lots of money and bully your ugly degenerate children if they ever cross them.
You want to
Men
commentate
who
on
are
that?
half white, half Asian.
Dang.
What do you got to say to that, pal?
That's some weird supreme race stuff that he even likes.
Who
that he
talks
wants.
like that?
He's clearly got
I've
problems.
never met someone who's talked like who's said stuff like that.
Dude, that's insane.
That's why he's Elliot Rodger, dude.
Are the most beautiful. We are the new master race above both whites and Asians. You are just jealous. Crawl back into your hole, you pathetic worm.
Despite the pride he claimed
You know
to
I'm
take in
checking?
his half
What?
Full transparency. So I have a show here in a little bit that's in this neck of the woods, right?
Okay.
So I got to go to that show here in a little bit, so I'm checking to see how far away it is. And it's 5 minutes away, brother. That's perfect.
white, half Asian heritage, he seemed to have nothing but animosity towards Asian men, writing things like,
Why does this guy refer to himself as an Asian guy? He is Eurasian, not Asian. We Eurasian men are completely different and shouldn't be associated with Asian men at all.
and in a fit of
Hey, what do you mean by that, pal?
Yeah. You got
So-
a problem?
So full-blooded Korean guy ain't good enough for you? Wow.
sheer irony, he posted,
I looked at all
If Jeremiah and Stevie breed, they'd make super Eurasian babies.
Let's pretend you didn't read that.
your
Let's keep going.
comments on your channel. They are all immature, and some of them are in all capital letters. No way are you mature enough to have a daughter. And if you do have a daughter, why are you spoiling her with a Mercedes? Whenever I see spoiled brats driving around in luxury
Shout out to Dub Scout. Kiss. Hell yeah.
Yeah, we love Kiss the Band.
brand
God
cars, I
gave
always
rock and roll to you. Gave rock and roll to you. Put it in the soul of everyone. How dare you, God? Yeah, I don't want to get you.
I think they meant that they wanted it was an actual kiss. So can you kiss towards the camera?
wonder what kind of idiotic parents they must have to spoil them so much. Now I know. By the way, I'm 21, and I drive a Maserati, which I bought with my own money.
Is that a nice car?
A
by spring of
Maserati?
20
Is it? What is a
It's
Maserati?
one of the
I don't know
most
about cars.
expensive cars.
Really?
Yeah, 250,000
Oh,
sometimes.
shit.
Yeah,
Maserati.
quarter million,
13,
baby.
Elliot was thinking seriously about the day of retribution and when it might take place. He felt the need to buy a second-hand gun and set his eyes on a Sig Sauer pt.2. It was a lot more expensive than the last,
What?
Stanky Poots playlist just quoted my favorite Kiss song. Tonight, I'm gonna give it all to you.
I don't know any Kiss, but
Born
keep
I was
going.
made for you. Girl, you were made
Shout out
for
to
me.
it's a Dub Scout. Shout out Dub
I
Scout.
was made for loving you, baby. You were made for loving me. Now I can't get enough of you, baby. Can you get enough of me tonight? I'm gonna give it all to you.
3-4 part series.
It's gonna be at least a 3 or 4
but
parter.
he didn't care about price
I
anymore.
was made
He started
for
saving up
loving
all of the
you,
money that his
baby.
parents and
You
grandparents
were
sent him to
made for
use towards
love-
his scheme. Asking each of them for money separately, he had quite a bit coming in. The only time Elliot really felt good around this time was when he went back home to see his parents. He particularly liked seeing his brother Jazz, and often took him out in his dad's Mercedes. He took him to all of the playgrounds and parks he used to frequent in his childhood. Slowly, though, Elliot began to realize how different Jazz was from him. When Elliot was that age, he was short, weak, and very shy. Jazz was quite the opposite, easily going up to other kids and making friends. Gradually, Elliot began to feel jealousy towards his younger brother. He tried to suppress the feelings until one point when Jazz asked him if he had a girlfriend. He exploded in anger towards his younger brother for even asking. While home, he decided to hang out with Philip and Addison.
Can I tell you a story about growing up with Bob? Because I never seen him bring over a girl, but then one time I went to go to use the bathroom and I saw a girl come out of his room and I'm like, whoa, he actually had a girl in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were they doing?
I don't know, the door was closed, but yeah.
Did he have a sock on the door?
No.
And once again, it was bittersweet as the last time he hung out was when Elliot cried in front of them at the museum.
I love you,
I
brother.
love you too, man.
I have to go to this show.
Okay. Hey, say goodbye to Jeremiah. This is a special treat. We're gonna stay on a little bit longer.
Yeah, and
dude.
I'll come do another one.
Yeah, hell
Do
yeah.
another one.
Anything else? Any words you want to say about
Hey.
this Elliot Rodger thing?
I just want to say I love this guy right here. Support this guy.
Peep out his stand up on the spot with Shanks and Coriano Loco and John Goblicon.
He's on. Yeah.
John Goblicon's on there too, y'all. So if anything, tune in for that.
But anyway, love to my brother Stevie. Keep supporting his. I think these should be called Stevie Streamies.
Stream. Oh. Okay.
And, like-
Yeah.
Like Streamy Weebee.
Yeah.
I don't know, something.
Yeah. Something like that.
Streamy Weebies.
Yeah.
Streamy Weebie Thursdays. I don't know, something like that. All right. I love you guys.
Love y'all.
Keep showing
Can I get
love
you a
to
hug?
my bro. Bring it in, brother.
All right.
Bring it in. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No, really, give me a. Oh yeah, there you go. Thanks. Dude, you look like you got stronger.
I've gained
Yeah.
weight.
Oh. Me too.
Dude, I've put on some weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love you guys.
Okay. Hey.
1,
Break a leg.
3, 4.
Break a leg tonight.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
All right.
I love
Thanks
you.
for,
I'll
I
talk
love
to
you.
you soon.
Yeah. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, that was cool, huh? All right. So again, sorry for all the pauses, but I think we might have to make this a 3-part series. We're gonna go probably 40 minutes longer, 30 minutes something.
They decided to head out to Santa Monica. While driving, Elliot saw plenty of
Shout out to Jarrett Watkinson's When You Coming to the East Coast, Providence misses you, buddy, and comedy. Shout out to Larry.
beautiful blonde women walking down the streets. Addison could see how enraged Elliot was towards the women, but Elliot didn't care. He fantasized about running them all over in his dad's car, feeling a little bit giddy at the thought. Elliot definitely hated all of the men out there for stealing the women he felt were rightfully his, but he had grown to hate the women even more. He felt that something within them was flawed and that their brains were wired wrong.
After going to college for 2.5 years and seeing all of the horrific sights I've seen there, mainly all of the young couples walking about, the guys who actually have the hot girls, I've concluded that females have a very flawed and perverted form of sexual attraction. Like every time I drive around the area of my college, or just walking through my college, I see that all of the beautiful girls go for the big, obnoxious, boisterous, beefy jock types.
I think another problem with Elliot, I think he should have lowered his standards a little bit as well, because I think he was going for the 10s, right? Because he keeps saying blonde, the blonde bombshells, okay? I think if he would have lowered his standards a little bit, I don't know, but he had a lot of things going against him. Number one being communication. He needed to learn how to communicate.
Girls should be going for intelligence, sophistication, men who are civilized, men like me.
He wondered if their choices would lead to a bleak future in which mankind grew more and more stupid and barbaric over time due to their choice.
I know he had a BMW. He could have had, I just learned what a Maserati is. He could have had a Maserati. The outcome would have been the same.
He fantasized about quarantining women far away from the rest of society.
I had nothing left to live for but revenge. Women must be punished for their crimes of rejecting such a magnificent gentleman as myself. All of those popular boys must be punished for enjoying heavenly lives and having sex with all the girls, while I had to suffer in lonely virginity.
Elliot began to search for like-minded people online, and that's when he came across a few websites, mainly Forever Alone and PUA Hate. These were websites dedicated to the new and growing incel movement. Elliot found them depressing but enlightening. He even tried to show the websites to his parents, feeling they might be able to understand why he feels the way he does. His mother said that she didn't even bother to give it a good look. Peter had said that he was astonished at the negativity on the sites, telling Elliot not to get involved.
If you were his father as well, and you saw these things happening to your son, wouldn't you try to get him like a dating coach or some kind of counselor? I don't know. I just thought of that.
Elliot did not listen. He became even more dedicated to getting revenge against the society he felt had wronged him. He knew very well that, if he were to carry out this revenge plot, he wouldn't be making it out alive. He absolutely refused to go to prison, so he'd have to take himself out before getting arrested. He needed a date and time to keep himself on track. As for location, he felt that the streets of Isla Vista were perfect. They were always flooded with young couples on their way to parties. When it came to the date, he figured it would have to be on a regular party weekend, sometime during November of
I mean, look at that party scene. I mean, even if you weren't Elliot, I would feel kind of overwhelmed. I'd want to just chill at home and play video games. I don't know if I'd want to go out. I mean, that's a lot of people.
2013 seemed like a fine idea. This meant he would have 5 months to prepare. He started getting nervous. Did he really want to die? Well, no, but he felt there were no other options left.
Shout out to Braden. Yeah, I think Elliot would have benefited. This is just my opinion. I think he might have benefited from marijuana. Maybe it would have chilled him out. I don't know.
Instead of simply reconsidering his options, he blamed women. They were the ones who pushed him this far, he thought. If only one of them had paid attention to him, it wouldn't have turned out this way. Upon arriving home to visit, Elliot's parents insisted that Elliot meet with a counselor to act as somewhat of a life coach to him. He got set up.
I just said that. See, they're on the same tip. Yeah, counselor.
Up with a man named Gavin. Gavin was only a few years older than Elliot, acting more like a friend. The two would often go to restaurants and sometimes hikes, as Gavin tried to listen to Elliot talk about his hardships back at school.
Yeah, if he could have had some kind of like mind-altering experience. I'm not trying to promote drugs. I'm just saying in his circumstance, I think he might have benefited from that. If he would have done, like, let's say he ate like mushrooms or something and he had like this revelation, it might have gave him like a mind shift. You know what I mean?
Gavin confirmed that, yes, women do tend to gravitate towards the jocks more. That was an unfortunate reality at that school. While having talked about this, Elliot felt some nearby girls were checking Gavin out.
Even if he like microdosed, I think maybe that could have done something for him. I'm just saying. I'm talking about primarily just Elliot, his situation.
Only made him angry. He got set up with a few counselors.
Again, like something like ayahuasca or like mushrooms, it would have maybe altered his brain or something.
Back in Santa Barbara to help him out as well. They took him out and helped him practice socializing. One of these was a man named Carlin. Elliot decided to ask him if he ever slept with any girls in Isla Vista. He became very jealous at his answer. 4. He was further enraged by the fact that Carlin himself was half Hawaiian and half Mexican, and that Elliot found him quite ugly. Another counselor was a woman named Sasha. She was
But another thing I noticed about Elliot, who does that? Like, who looks at another man, even if the man was attractive, and just like hates, you know? If anything, like, why would I think that's very weird.
Only 1 year older than Elliot and the first girl he ever interacted with in the area. Not only that, she was a good-looking blonde. Despite the fact that she was getting paid to talk to him, he couldn't pass up the chance.
What's up, Def Jeff?
Even though it wasn't a real date, he enjoyed it. This gave him a bit of hope. After all, he was able to talk to Sasha just fine, so why not other girls? He started working out more and more in his bedroom in order to get some confidence.
Shout out to Dub Scott. He should have went to Macau. Ain't that right?
And appear more attractive. He was going to try harder than ever before. He even went back to class for the first time in months, attending a summer class. He wanted to, in his mind, give women one more chance to prove themselves to him. He dropped the class after 1 week when girls talked to other boys instead of him. Elliot had one last idea, one last method to lose his virginity, a wild college party. This decision would lead him to the worst day of his entire life.
And look, that's the house I got beat up at when I walked in on the party.
Saturday night, July 20th, 2013, just a few days before Elliot's 22nd birthday. This is the version of the events that transpired according to Elliot's manifesto. He went out on the town in one last-ditch effort to get laid. He was far too nervous to go without some help, so he downed a few shots. A few too many shots.
I'm just saying, is what, like, if he's trying to meet girls as well, like, why would he roll solo? Like, shouldn't you be rolling with at least one homie? I'm just saying that, and then he's driving in his BMW. I think in his mind, he's probably thinking, oh, if they see me in this BMW, then they'll want to date me. But, again, that's
to be exact.
flawed thinking.
He shambled up to Del Playa Street, smashed out of his mind. He walked right up to a rager of a house party. They had a DJ playing hip-hop music and a ping-pong table set up for beer pong, something Elliot found very crude. He wandered around for a while, drunkenly feeling quite confident. He grabbed himself some beer, only making things worse. He quickly got angry that no girls came up to talk to him. That's when he noticed something. A cute white girl talking to an Asian man. He couldn't believe it. He had always blamed being half Asian on why girls didn't like him, but here was a full-blooded Asian man talking to the exact sort of woman he wanted.
So this motherfucker hated Asians if other full Asian men were talking to women, especially white women? Interesting.
He angrily walked away, knocking his shoulder into the Asian guy on purpose, acting as cocky as he could. The Asian man and the white girl felt that he likely didn't do that on purpose, as he seemed very drunk. They told him he should try and go get some water. Elliot refused, angrily storming out.
Dude, don't hate on the Asians, bro. You know, that's kind of weird. I mean, you're half Asian, bro. Like, why would you hate... That's... I don't know.
Into the front yard where most of the action was. He couldn't seem to calm down, so he ran back into the house and insulted the Asian man to let off some steam before running outside again. Elliot then climbed up onto a wooden ledge that bordered the street. He looked down on all of the happy partygoers in his drunken fog. He let his arm out, pointed his finger, and started pretending to shoot them all. This made him laugh. After a bit, a few other people actually climbed up onto the ledge with him. Elliot, rather than try to make friends, began to shout insults at all of them. They laughed and insulted him back, likely just humoring him as he was very drunk.
If you saw a kid at a party do that and, like, do that gesture, wouldn't you... I don't know, I think that would definitely grab the attention of a lot of people at the party. That's something like, why would he do that?
Elliot lost it. He started trying to push the other people off of the 10-foot ledge onto the street. He couldn't manage to get any of them to fall. The other boys countered by pushing him back, causing Elliot to be the one to fall down onto the street. When he did, his ankle snapped, followed by a sharp sting of pain. He couldn't walk. He stumbled away on one leg, trying to escape. He realized his expensive Gucci sunglasses were gone. Had someone stolen them? He had to get them back. He got confused and wandered into the yard of the house next to the party. He demanded his sunglasses, but the people at this house had no idea what he was talking about. They responded with hostility, calling him weak, followed by a slew of homophobic slurs. A group of men came up to him and dragged him out into the driveway, pushing him out of the yard. Elliot was so angry that he wanted to kill them right then and there. He tried to punch one of them, but he failed and got a punch back. He fell to the ground, only for the others to start kicking him. Some other people came up and pulled them off, giving him a chance to get up and hobble away. Elliot had never actually been beaten up before. Pushed, yes, but nothing to this extent. His face was covered in bruises. He'd never been so humiliated in his life. Everyone saw what happened to him.
How about this? You don't go to a party and start doing gun gestures and, like, mocking people and acting weird. How about that?
He could never face any of them again. What if they saw him in public, he thought. More than anything, he couldn't believe that no girls were caring enough to try and help him. In his delirious state, he even felt that one of them should have offered to sleep with him to cheer him up. Of course.
So this guy actually thought that since he broke his ankle or whatever at the party, and it was his doing, that he thought a girl would offer to take him home and sleep with him? That's his thought process? It's bizarre.
Nobody did. Elliot got back to his room. He had felt bad before, sure, but nothing like this. He called up the only people he felt still had his back, his parents, and even his sister, who he normally couldn't get along with. It was then he noticed something. His gold necklace was gone.
Alright, they snatched his... They did a Doherty on him. A Jack Doherty, alright? But the thing is, you know what just dawned on me? I forgot that Elliot had a sister. Like, if you were Elliot, wouldn't you, like, holler at your sister, like, hey, you got any friends? Like, you know, or whatever, something? Like, you gotta utilize your outlets here, right?
Felt that one of the men who beat him up must have taken it. He couldn't stand the thought that someone out there might be selling his grandma's necklace for drugs. He cried himself to sleep. When he woke up, his leg was extremely swollen. He couldn't walk at all. He remembered everything that happened, now with a clear head. He remembered how he tried to push people off.
Yeah, Jack Doherty just got his $200,000 chain taken at some rap show. I don't know. It popped up on my YouTube recommendations. Go look that up.
That ledge, wondering if he could get arrested for that. He decided to get his story straight just in case. After all, he clearly needed to go to the hospital and they would likely ask questions. Peter drove up to take him to the hospital. 2 police officers did indeed come out to talk to him. When the cops spoke to Elliot, he told them that he was only pushed off the ledge after calling a man ugly and that he had done nothing else. He said that he stumbled away into the other yard and sat down in a lawn chair before 10 men came out of nowhere and ordered him to leave before dragging him into the driveway while punching him and kicking him. He said that he then punched one of the men, causing them all to back off, allowing him time to run home. The police felt that Elliot was very shy and quite clearly not being very forthcoming with them. This led them to believe that he might be withholding some information. The cops then went out and spoke to an occupant of the house. This occupant told them that he had witnessed Elliot attempting to push 2 women off the balcony, mentioning that he had to grab one of them before she fell. The other woman was able to prevent herself from falling. He said that Elliot then attempted to push 2 other people before jumping off the ledge himself and running down the street. With no evidence either way, the police
So you're telling me... Oh, shout out to Cali Smooth 9 clocking in. Hi everyone. Wow, the Elliot story. Love SB2. Many memories from 18 to 21. Yo, Steve, I'll be there on the 23rd if you're trying to film. Hell yeah. Shout out to Cali Smooth 9.
promptly dropped the case. It's unknown which version of the story is the most true, the one in the manifesto, the account Elliot gave to the police, or the account given by the occupants of the home. Either way, Elliot was left humiliated, injured, discouraged, and angry. Elliot got a cast and some crutches. He felt that, upon all of his insecurities, he now had to live as, quote, a cripple for the next 6 weeks. He might even need surgery. At least he could still drive as the
You know what he needed? He needed a real good friend. Let's say, if I were his roommate and I saw him in that cast, even though it was his doing, at least take him to Panda Express, get him a combo plate, sign his cast. I don't know. At this point, I don't know.
injured leg was his left leg. This provided some solace. Elliot turned 22, defeated and miserable. He sat around his mom's house, staring at his leg, unable to believe he was still a virgin. His mom went out and bought him a new golden necklace, seeing how heartbroken he was. By August, Elliot was in surgery. He was going to need a few screws and a titanium plate in his ankle. He was happy to do it if it meant he could lose these crutches. Elliot's mother and sister had a vacation lined up, so they needed to leave.
Look at his sister. Look how pretty Elliot's sister was. You don't think she had friends? Elliot, he played his cards wrong. He should have said, hey, sister, you got any friends coming over? Or can you introduce me? Or I'm sure there's a lot of, siblings that have done that, right?
Elliot was invited, but he didn't want to go. Chin didn't want him to stay home alone in that state, so she asked him to go to his father's place. Sumaya had family over, so she refused.
Yeah, I agree. His sister is a good-looking lady. Yeah, she's good-looking.
Elliot couldn't believe his father let her refuse him, losing respect for him once more. So Chin booked a hotel room for him to stay at in an extended stay America in Woodland Hills. Elliot was fine with it, although being so close to Taft High School brought back bad memories. This time, though, the hatred felt a bit empowering more than depressing. He remembered that he was armed now. He knew he would get back at everyone eventually.
It fully dawned on me that I would now have to bring about the day of retribution. There was no other hope. I mused that once I descend upon Isla Vista, armed with my weapons and my burning hatred, I would definitely make sure to target the people who lived in that house I was attacked in. The plan was to destroy the entirety of Isla Vista and kill every single person in it, or at least—
Shout out to Thorkel. Love your dog, bro. Totally adds value to your stream for me. It does, my guy. Shout out to Thorkel. Hell yeah.
kill as many popular young people I could before the police arrive, and I'd have to end myself.
Given the circumstances, he wouldn't have time to prepare before the previous November date. So he decided to postpone his revenge plot to spring of 2014. Once his mom got back, he stayed with her for about 1 more month as he healed. He got to see Gavin again, talking to him about his life and where he felt he was heading. Gavin thought it might be best to move out of Isla Vista, but Elliot refused. His parents got him an appointment to see a psychiatrist. His father, mother, and
he should have seen a psychiatrist when he was younger, because this is years and years of this thinking and behavior. It should have happened a long time ago.
Surprisingly, Sumaya came out to support him. He only ended up getting some medication, risperidone, also known as Risperdal, a medication used to treat symptoms of schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and autism. Elliot researched the drug himself and decided he wouldn't be taking it. He never came back to see this psychiatrist again. Near the end of his month of healing, Chin invited Maddie and her family over for dinner. Before Maddie showed up, Elliot had to stalk her on Facebook for a bit. He saw that she had now become the exact kind of woman he used to lust over, but now hated her with a passion. He saw her clique of hot girls and how popular she seemed. Despite growing up as friends, she now symbolized everything he despised. It was now time to go back to Santa Barbara.
Again, if you see that, don't hate. Try to learn from it. Be like, hey, who's your friend there? Linda. Or, you don't. This guy just went to automatic hate. That's where he fell short.
It was about time for class, but Elliot only took some online classes. He got back to see that Chris and John had moved out. He was saddened as they were really easy to live with. He wondered if he'd end up with some unpleasant roommates again. Elliot finally got out of his cast and decided to hang out with Philip and Addison. He took them out in his dad's Mercedes and headed out to Los Angeles. They went back to the Griffith Park Observatory like old times. The day was ruined when Elliot saw some—
That's not an easy trip, though, because, I went there maybe a decade ago, the Griffith Observatory. You have to actually— There's a shuttle that takes you up there. It's a whole thing. It's a whole process. But it's a beautiful— For those of you who haven't gone, you should at least check it out. It's a cool place.
Some couples kissing under the—
It's a cool date spot, and I'm sure we're going to get to the moment where he sees a couple there.
The stars. Driving away, he saw plenty of couples walking around. He wanted to run them over then and there. He already had an idea. He would use his car as one of his weapons on the day of retribution. They drove out to the beach. Philip fell asleep, so Elliot walked around and talked with Addison, having some surprisingly good talks. Elliot told him about his new views on women, saying that they are mentally deficient and need to be locked away. Addison showed no expression. He simply told Elliot that he's an intelligent person and he shouldn't waste that by doing something rash. Surprised at his intuition, Elliot told him not to worry, that he wouldn't do anything stupid. That was the last time he would ever see Addison or Philip again. Elliot went back to his father's house. That's where he had another argument with Sumaya as she began to brag about jazz. He was all set to act in some TV commercials. She said that, by the time he was Elliot's age, he'd likely be a famous actor. Elliot expressed his jealousy towards Jazz, saying that he was already so social that he would have no problem losing his virginity.
See, that's where Samaya messed up. Don't say that to Elliot. He already has enough demons. You don't want to say that your younger brother is going to be a successful commercial actor or any of that. That probably infuriated him.
Sumaya agreed, enraging him further. Elliot's mind took him to a dark place.
That was the day that I decided I would have to kill him on the day of retribution. I will not allow the boy to surpass me at everything, to live the life I've always wanted. It's not fair that he has the chance to have a pleasurable life while I've been denied it. It will be a hard thing to do, because I had really bonded with my little brother in the last year, and he respected and looked up to me, but I would have to do it. If I can't live a pleasurable life, then neither will he. I will not let him put my legacy to shame.
How terrifying is it to know that your older brother is thinking these things about you? It's like he planned to kill his younger brother because he didn't want his younger brother to be happy. That's just,
if he were going to
evil.
take Jazz out, he knew he would have to get through Sumaya. He didn't care. He already hated her, in fact. The problem would be his father. He didn't want to kill him or even confront him. He decided he'd have to plan his revenge for a time when his father would be out of the country. In order to make Elliot feel a little more confident, his mother gifted him with an even better car, a BMW 3 Series Coupe.
You know, this is the thing. He didn't need any kind of vehicle, okay? He needed to learn how to communicate, right? Don't get him a car. Let him walk around. Have him skate. And just, oh, man. She just kept enabling him.
Elliot knew that the students who drove nicer cars tended to be more popular.
No.
Now he had a high-class vehicle all of his own. This gave him a bit of an ego boost.
Sleep with one eye
His
open.
new roommates arrived. Two Asian men, foreign students, Wei Han Wang and Chung Hong. Elliot thought that they were the biggest nerds he had ever seen, writing that they were both very ugly and had annoying voices. He found them repulsive. He would often argue with them about the noise they made. Things got so bad that Elliot even attempted to make a citizen's arrest on his roommate Hong. Since Elliot had used some of Hong's household items, something they argued about frequently, he attempted to retaliate by taking some candles from Elliot's room. Elliot freaked out and called the police.
Shout out to Thorkel. Pure insanity from birth. If you're referring to Elliot, I suppose so. I don't know when the insanity started with Elliot. I don't think he had a lot of good social interactions growing up at all.
Police for this.
And not only that, I think that his parents shielded him from doing normal things a kid needs to go through to progress in life. I don't know.
Though the candles were only worth $22, the police still took Hong in, hit him with a petty theft charge, and told him not to bother Elliot any further or face additional charges. He knew that, when the day of retribution came, he would likely have to get them out of the way. He didn't mind, though. He felt that he would enjoy stabbing them.
See, that's why he's even more of a piece of shit, because it's like, dude, these are the cats you should have bonded with. These guys should have been your best friends. Not only are they Asian, dude, they live with you. These are the dudes living under the same roof as you. Man.
Elliot went back home much more often at this point. When coming home, he came across some horrifying news. His sister, Georgia, had a boyfriend. To make it worse for Elliot, he was half Mexican. The boy's name was Samuel, and Elliot immediately hated him.
I don't feel for him. I'm just trying to he fascinates me. I don't feel for him. I'm just trying to I'm trying to make sense of it all. That's all. There's no. I mean, again, like, yeah. How could I love this guy? He hated Asians.
He felt that he was the same type of doofus that always got the girl. He was even more blown away when it came up in conversation that Samuel's ex-girlfriend was white. Elliot's hatred...
Thorkel says, so lack of empathy. I think Elliot had a lack of empathy. I think the people around him had way more empathy than he did. I don't think he even understood what that was.
For him peaked when he heard him having intercourse with his sister in her room. He stood outside the door and listened to the entire thing from start to finish.
If you want to see my Asian friends, I might go to the De La Soul concert this weekend with my homeboy the Relayer and Danny Kim. They're both Asian.
He was completely immersed in the sounds of penetration. He described...
Yeah, De La Soul's performing with the Isley Brothers, and guess who's hosting? Arsenio Hall. So, it's a jazz festival at the Hollywood Bowl this weekend. And I'm hoping I could get a ticket.
Read the entire thing
And I
in
wanna vlog it.
disgusting detail within his manifesto. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. Grandma Jinx came out to visit, taking Elliot out for coffee and conversation. They had a good long talk. This time, though, Elliot gave her an extra emotional goodbye, feeling a wave of sadness come over him. He knew that, if everything went to plan, this would be the last time he saw her. It was almost time for winter break. On the last day of the semester, Elliot was doing one of the few things he still enjoyed, watching the sunset.
I'm just watching the sun descend beyond that hill. There's the sun. Life is so cruel and brutal and horrible. Life is insulting. It's such a malicious joke. And yet, it's so beautiful. I always love watching the sunset. But then again, when I
Craig,
think
shout out
about
to
all the young couples
my boy Craig.
who get to enjoy
Afros.
this very same
You didn't have to, my
sunset
man.
together, it makes me feel so sad. I have to do everything alone. My life is so unfair. It's just not fair.
This time, a young
See, that's another thing I noticed with Elliot. He's always a victim. Oh, life's so unfair. They should like me. I'm Elliot. I'm the supreme gentleman. Life is unfair. And when things don't go your way, oh, I'm gonna cry. It's like, nah, dude.
couple came up and stood near him. They kissed under that very same sunset. Now, Elliot couldn't even enjoy this simple pleasure anymore. It was time for the usual December England trip, but Elliot refused to go. He stayed at his mom's house by himself. He was all ready to relax until he heard that Samuel got to go with his family this time. He was infuriated, feeling that his mom had betrayed him. She knew he hated George's boyfriend, and she took him anyway. Elliot woke up on New Year's Day, 2014, all alone. He knew that this was the beginning of the last year of his life. Having missed the previous date for the day of retribution, it was time to make a new one. Elliot fantasized about being a god, punishing humanity for their sins. He felt that Valentine's Day would be the perfect day, but it was too soon. He wouldn't be ready yet. Another option was during a local event called Deltopia, where a lot of young couples came out for spring break parties.
I mean, that's something. I mean, maybe to college kids that looks fun, but I would stay far away from. I mean, look how crowded that thing. Yeah, no thanks for me.
He did some research on YouTube and saw that there were a lot of cops patrolling during those days. That wouldn't work either. He pushed the date back more and more. Maybe some part of him was fighting the urge for revenge. Some part of him still didn't want to go through with it. Maybe he was scared. In fact, he knew how it would end. Or perhaps he still had a remaining bit of hope that he didn't even realize was there. However, after much internal debate, he settled on a day. Saturday, April 26, 2014. It was all soon to be over, so Elliot decided to make the most of the time he had left.
Jeremiah had to go to he had a show like down the block somewhere. But it was cool. He stopped by. Wasn't that cool?
He stopped staying in his room at all. Instead, he drove all over the local area in his BMW, not returning home until late in the night. He had saved enough money to live fairly lavishly before he died. He still kept the savings above a certain amount in case he needed more supplies. He wanted some more ammunition and knives. He felt another gun would be good in case something went wrong with one of the others. His plan was to use both of them on each side of his head when things came to a close. Elliot, surprisingly, did attend his spring classes for 2 weeks before dropping them. There was no point, after all. He needed to make himself accept that if he were going to continue. He came up with his first concrete plan as to how the day of...
Where did he get his money from? His dad was a director. He was in the movie business. His mom worked with George Lucas. Like he has some paper.
Retribution would go.
Thank you,
First
Angie.
of all, he was going to lure as many people from Isla Vista as he could back into his apartment and do away with them one by one. He knew that the first two would be his housemates. He wouldn't be able to do anything if they were there. He wanted to turn the entire place into a killing chamber. Then he wanted to place their heads into a...
Shout out to Thorco. Totally agree, my guy. Love your dog Spark. So what is your opinion on the anti-ice raids and President Trump has ran on boat since he ran for prez? I think it's insane what's happening around here. I haven't been wanting to leave, actually, because Yeah, this insanity on the street. I mean, spray painting and Molotov cocktails. Yeah, I think it's insane. I don't want to get political either, but yeah, and then not only that, there's the thing with Iran and Israel. It's just, I'm not saying these are the last days, but it's a bit frightening what's happening in the world.
Bag for use in a later phase of his plan. This phase, he said, represented his hatred for men. Second, he needed to symbolize his hatred towards women. He planned to go up to the UCSB sorority with the hottest girls. He even did research to see which one had the most girls he found attractive, the Alpha Phi sorority. In the time leading up to the day of retribution, he would stalk the sorority time and time.
So I have a story about the Alpha Phi. Me and the homies, there was a Taco Bell at ASU underneath that sorority, so we would just go in there after our skateboarding sessions, and we would just eat bean burritos and just chill. But that's the thing, is we never even met any of them, but we would be like, hey, yeah, you want to go to Taco Bell where the sorority girls are?
Time again from his car.
So we basically did an Elliot Rodger, but and then just went home by ourselves. But it's like I don't know why I said that story.
He planned to sneak into the house first thing in the morning and take out as many as he could. He felt that arson would be
and one of the sorority girls actually used me because I had this long luggage case thing, and she actually because she knew my roommate, he was the cool guy, and she's like, are you using that? And then I couldn't get it till the end of the semester, and she didn't even hand it to me. Like, I had to figure out how to go in there to get my bag back.
Good final touch as well. Before moving on to the third and final phase, there was something he needed to do. He needed to go to his father's house and kill Sumaya and Jazz. He couldn't stomach the idea that Jazz was going to grow up and experience all of the things he couldn't. He thought that his dad's SUV would also be a much more durable car for the next part of the plan. For the third phase, he would drive the SUV out to Isla Vista, running over as many people as he could and shooting the people he failed to hit.
I can only imagine how sweet it will be to ram the SUV into all of those groups of popular young people who I've always witnessed walking right in the middle of the road, as if they are better than everyone else. When they are writhing in pain, their bodies broken and dying after I splatter them, they will fully
Hold up, I'll let it play.
realize their crimes. Once I reach Del Playa Street, I will dump the bag of severed heads I had saved from my previous victims, proclaiming to everyone how much I've made them all suffer.
You know what's crazy is he thought he was the only one on this planet that suffered from this loneliness and not being able to get girls. It's just, that's why it fascinates me. His thought process is flawed. It's motherfucker, these other cats aren't they're not thinking they're better than everyone else. They're just trying to get through the semester. It's what are you talking about?
Once they see all of their friends' heads roll onto the street, everyone will fear me as the powerful god I am.
If he could find a house party, he'd shoot at anyone standing in the front yard, especially the good-looking people and definitely the couples. Then he would continue down Del Playa, where he previously got beaten up, to destroy everything he could. When the police inevitably caught up to him, he was prepared to do what he knew he had to. It was now 1 week before the day of retribution. Elliot uploaded several now infamous videos to YouTube in which he expressed his dissatisfaction with the way the world works. He held back one video, a video detailing it.
We'll get off all this type of content. It just fascinates me. That's why I'm watching this, because people like this. Because I was going to do a whole Cho Sung-wi series too, like the Korean guy from Virginia Tech, and it just fascinates me, their thinking and their approach towards life is just unlike stuff we're used to, that's why.
His plans until later. He uploaded one video called "Why Do Girls Hate Me So Much?", which has been used throughout the duration of this video.
How about this? Girls don't hate you, they don't know you're there, because guess what? You haven't tried to talk to any of them.
This far. To his dismay, he didn't get any messages of condolences. He only got some comments making fun of him.
Hey, Elliot Rodger here. I'm up in the hills in Montecito right now. It's truly a beautiful day, but I've been alone for a very long time. I've been attending college in Santa.
You're 22 years old. You've been alone for a long time. How about try hitting 50, 60 years old, then come back to the drawing board.
Barbara for about
Holy
2.5
smokes.
years now. And in those 2.5 years, I've experienced nothing but loneliness and misery. And my problem is girls.
Yeah, I could kickflip. I haven't done one in a while. I could fakey flip too.
There are so many beautiful girls here, but none of them give me a chance. And I don't know why. I don't know why you girls are so repulsed by me. It doesn't make sense. I have a nice car, a BMW. Well, it's nicer than 90% of the people at my college. And yet, you girls, you never give me a chance. I put a lot of effort into dressing nice.
You know one thing you didn't have, Elliot? Communication skills, my friend. That's one thing you're lacking. How to communicate.
These sunglasses here were $300. Giorgio Armani. So I'll put them on. See? I see so many beautiful blonde-haired.
You know what the crazy thing about it? He thinks that's gonna impress women. You don't want to attract those types of women anyway. The ones that will spot a Giorgio Armani pair of glasses. That you don't want that in your life.
Just so many beautiful blonde-haired girls walking around everywhere. In your revealing shorts, your cascading blonde hair, your pretty faces. I'm still a virgin. I've never had the pleasure of having sex with a girl, sleeping with a girl, kissing a girl. I've never even held a girl's hand. And that's just such an injustice because I'm so magnificent. I deserve girls much more than all those slobs I see at my college who are somehow able to walk around with beautiful girls.
You know why, Elliot? Because they got over their fear and they actually tried. Right, Kelly Smooth? Bro didn't have a 93 Toyota pickup. Exactly.
I should be the one with the girls. Why won't you give me a chance?
You know why? You didn't even give yourself a chance. You didn't even try. That's a problem.
Unbelievable.
As the day of retribution grew closer, Elliot spent much of his time online. One website that he frequented was bodybuilding.com, particularly the forums. On the forums, he posted links to his personal YouTube channel, likely thinking that they would impress the other men on there. They did not. In fact, it only resulted in a surge of trolls heading to his comment section. In one post on that forum, he read that the average penis size in the US was 5.5 inches, something he was very unhappy to read,
No herpes.
revealing another
Thorkel says no herpes.
insecurity that had yet to surface. He responded with,
The average is 5.5. I thought it was 4. This is very unsettling.
Okay, this guy's measuring his penis. Holy smokes. We might have to end the stream here. This guy's talking about penis sizes and stuff. You believe it? We might have to continue this. Hold up, where are we at, guys and gals? I'll let it play.
April 26th grew closer and closer. It was now only a few days away. All Elliot had to do now was write his manifesto, a now infamous document called My Twisted World, a 137-page manuscript detailing everything from his life story to his philosophy to his plans. Now all he had to do was film a final video. But then something happened. Elliot woke up with a cold. He wondered if this was a sign not to go through with all of this. He got cold feet, rescheduling the massacre to May 24th, 2014, exactly 1 month later. He felt that this would be ample time to both get over the cold and think about things. Above all, he was very excited to have 1 more month of life. If only Elliot had realized the implications of that, things might have turned out much differently. He went back to his mom's house, exaggerating how sick he was so that he could see her again. At this point, Elliot was taking a lot of Xanax to cope, feeling that it worked pretty well. However, his anxiety was increasing rapidly in the lead up to his final day. Things were only—
How about you do this? You go down to Peru, have an ayahuasca trip, and figure it out, dude.
made even worse when he happened to see a couple. He started taking even more videos of himself stalking younger couples, complaining all the while. On May 6th, a couple in their 20s were leaving Goleta Beach when a black BMW blocked the boy's car. The girl, entering her own car a little ways away, noticed her boyfriend arguing with the driver of the BMW. She called to make sure.
Who wants to talk about Amberlynn Reed in this motherfucker? Next week, we'll cover Amberlynn Reed, alright?
Sure he was okay. She heard the driver shouting, "You're lucky to be an Asian guy dating a white girl. It's too bad she's such a horse-faced slut."
Dude, if someone said that about me and my girl, I would be like, okay, we got a problem, pal. Like, you freaking hater.
This upsetted the girl, understandably. The driver of that BMW drove away, but she spotted him nearby. She went up to confront him, and he didn't respond to her, only looking straight ahead. She started to feel very creeped out at this point and decided to drive away. This was when she saw that BMW driving all over the beach parking lot in a frenzy, hitting several parked cars. She called the police and informed them of what she saw. It doesn't seem that they ever found our culprit. By this time, Elliot was spending a lot of time attending target ranges. When he wasn't, he was usually back home, wasting away the last days of his life online. He spent a lot of time in May back on the bodybuilding.com forums. He tended not to talk about bodybuilding and instead focus more on ranting, for instance in this post that eventually went viral.
Seriously, today at my college I saw this short, ugly Indian guy driving a Honda Civic, and he had a hot blonde girl in his passenger seat. What on earth is up with that?
You know, good for him. Good for the Indian guy. Stop hating, Elliot. Callie Smooth says, 4N, did you ever have a chance? Yeah, you have a chance with 2N. Yeah, you have a chance. Yeah, even if it's a micro, you have a chance. Because guess what? If you have game, you could work around that.
Climb Mount Everest 10 times just to have a girl like that with me. I drive a BMW Coupe, and I've struggled all my life to get a girlfriend.
Yeah, we'll watch Nexpo next time. Yeah, we'll watch Nexpo.
What's wrong with this world?
When called out on the blatant racism and upon being made fun of, Elliot responded with,
I wasn't being racist. I mentioned his race to make a point.
Other users pointed out that Elliot's personality was likely what had prevented him from meeting women, with some posting responses such as, "I'm not trying to be mean, but the creepy vibe that you give off in those videos is likely the major reason that you can't get girls."
See, that's constructive criticism right there. Thorkel again, but syphilitic brain is no bueno, no benzo or ayahuasca trip or ibogaine can cure. Retargo. Shout out to Crazy Bass. Thanks, Stevie, for the best stream yet. I look forward to Thursday night every week. Hell yeah. Also, the new mic sounds great. Thank you. I got a mic going here. See, that's why it's gonna improve little by little, folks. Let me see. Okay, let's keep going here. Okay, so going back to this comment, that's something that was constructive. You could have learned from that. Crackhead cream pie. Okay, shout out to Tim Fields. Crackhead cream pie. I mean, that's something Elliot would have probably benefited from.
In fact, soon after, Elliot's YouTube channel made the front page of r/cringe on Reddit, a subreddit dedicated to posting videos that cause extreme secondhand embarrassment. On May 22nd, Elliot logged into anxietyzone.com and looked around. It's unknown what information he gained from this. Shortly after, it was off to bodybuilding.com and PUA hate. Elliot began attending several forums dedicated to incels and began to identify as one himself. But even on incel forums, he spent a lot of time being made fun of, arguing with others, and bragging. When seeing a photo of a white girl with an Asian man, he reacted with disbelief, saying,
Tiger, stop linking fake pictures of white girls with Asian men. Any Asian man can pay a white hooker to take pictures with him and pretend she's his girlfriend. Full Asian men are disgustingly ugly, and white girls would never go for you.
When it was shown that that woman really was dating that man, he was in disbelief, saying,
What? Are you telling me that an Asian boy snagged this blonde beauty while I'm struggling as an incel? No fucking way.
Yeah. That's exactly what's going on, Elliot, alright? Deal with it.
Not all of his wrath was focused on Asian men, with such posts as,
Today, I drove through the area near my college and saw some things that were extremely rage-inducing. I passed by this restaurant and I saw this black guy chilling with 4 hot white girls. He didn't even look good. Then later on in the day, I was shopping at Trader Joe's and saw an Indian guy with 2 above-average white girls.
even on those sort of forums, Elliot would often get called out on his behavior and subsequently made fun of, to which he would make replies such as,
How dare you speak to me like that,
no,
you
I don't think
degenerate
that-
subhuman? I am not deformed. I am perfection incarnate.
At around this time, he was in communication with both Christopher Harper Mercer and Alec Manassian, according to Alec himself. These 2 men would go on to be infamous in their own right eventually. Alec has claimed that Elliot even shared vague plans for the day of retribution with him, to which Alec wished him luck. Elliot's last known post on puahate.com went as follows.
You're all jealous of my 10 out of 10 pretty boy face. This site is full of stupid, disgusting, mentally ill degenerates who take pleasure in putting down others. That is all I have to say on here. Goodbye.
Elliot knew that this was it. May 24th was the final date. This time, he couldn't find an excuse to postpone. He felt that he could no
Elliot,
longer
if he was
back
still
out.
alive, he would
This was the
probably
last week
hated,
of school, and everyone would be
K-pop
gone soon.
stars.
It was now or nothing. Little did Elliot know, his mother Chin had seen his YouTube videos. Upon seeing them, she quickly grew worried. Very worried. She had never seen him act like this before. She called a mental health agency to check up on him, who called some police officers out to his apartment.
Okay, I know some of y'all are frustrated because this, Elliot, it's a bit extensive. We'll move on from this next week. I'm trying to get through this so we can move on to a different series, but this is a pretty extensive documentary.
When they showed up, Elliot was petrified, but he played it cool. The police didn't sense anything wrong with him. He told them that his mother just tended to worry. He even had a phone call with her in front of the police, telling her everything was fine. The police felt that this was just a misunderstanding and left, never checking Elliot's room or watching the YouTube videos he uploaded. If the videos were going to be a problem, Elliot knew he had to delete them. Perhaps he had let too much anger leak out in his speech. He took them down, planning to re-upload them all just before the day of retribution. Elliot filmed his final video. For whatever reason, he didn't feel that this video was good enough. The video was, in fact, a bit awkward in places.
All of you popular kids who live such pleasurable and hedonistic lives.
It could be that.
Yeah, I did part 1 last week, so it's probably on, if you click on live on my YouTube channel, you can see the part 1.
Toward the end of the video, he started to cry a little. It might have ruined the cool, intimidating look that he was going for.
Well, I've had to rot in loneliness. You've had your sex and your parties and your pleasure, your laughter and your fun.
He decided to refilm it and was much happier with the new version. Elliot decided to spend the last few days of his life experiencing as much of life as he could, driving around and listening to music. And then the day soon came.
You know, just the way he looked at himself, that's a bit odd. He was really full of himself, huh?
The day of retribution. Elliot woke up on May 23rd, 2014. He knew that today was the day. It was both the day of his revenge and the last day of his life. At around 7:38 p.m., Elliot pulled up to the Isla Vista Starbucks, only a short distance from his home.
Oh no.
He bought his usual triple vanilla latte using his card. All seemed normal. Little did anyone know this day would go on to change all of their lives. He didn't do much until later in the evening. He first had to wait for his roommates to leave the apartment so he could prepare. He wrote the last entry into his diary and reinserted some of the pages he had torn out before in order to hide his plans.
I had to tear some pages out because I feared my intentions would be discovered. I taped them back together as fast as I could. This is it. In 1 hour, I will have my revenge on this cruel world. I hate you all. Die.
Waiting for his roommates to return, he lurked in the hallway, lying in wait. Wei-Han Wong was the first of the two to re-enter. Elliot ambushed him, stabbing him 15 times and slashing him another 23 times all across the chest, neck, back, arms, and hands. His jugular, multiple arteries, and his lungs were all punctured or severed. Once he lost consciousness, Elliot pulled him.
That's the thing. This is what gets me about him. Like, why are you attacking your Asian roommates, dude? What did they do to you? They weren't like going to the popular parties. They were just probably playing video games and, you know?
Him into the far corner of the bedroom, out of sight, and covered him partially with a blanket, a towel, and some clothes. He couldn't risk the other roommates seeing the scene and running before he too could meet the same fate. Chung Hong was the next to come back to the apartment. As he entered through the front door, Elliot jumped out and ambushed him as well. Elliot stabbed him 25 times and slashed him another 12 times. Chung put up a fight, being wounded across his hands and arms, but he passed away nonetheless. After the life faded from his eyes, Elliot dragged him into the bedroom, throwing him face down halfway on top of Wei-Han's body. But then a third man entered the apartment, Wei-Han and Chung's friend, George Chun. He wasn't even their roommate, he was just a friend of the two. He entered into the apartment and approached the bedroom, likely looking for his friends. George would come to face a death more brutal than the last two combined. Elliot stabbed him a total of 94 times and cut him 11 times all across the neck, chest, back, arms, hands, and even his head. His heart, lungs, kidney, spleen, and liver were all punctured.
Don't you think that's a bit excessive? It's like 94 times, dude. Like, what's your problem, bro?
George attempted to fight back, but he lost his life in the end.
Oh, man.
Elliot tried to wipe up all of the blood with a towel, but it soon became...
If I were Elliot's roommate, dude, you best believe deadbolt locks. Deadbolt locks that first week. I would just, yeah.
soaked. He then tried paper towels, but after wasting a lot of time and making little progress, he stopped. Elliot waited in the apartment for some time, likely contemplating what he had just done and planning his next move. Even if he backed out now, his life was over. It was coming time to leave the apartment. Elliot uploaded his final video, titled Retribution, to YouTube, leaving his thoughts behind for hundreds of thousands of people to see.
Hi, Elliot Rodger here. Well, this is my last video. It all has to come to this. Tomorrow
It all
is the
depends
day of
when I'm back from the
retribution.
dealership.
The day in which I will have my revenge against humanity, against all of you. For the last 8 years of my life, ever since I've hit puberty, I've been forced to endure an existence of loneliness, rejection, and unfulfilled desires, all because girls have never been attracted to me. Girls gave their affection and sex and love to other men, but never to me. You girls have never been attracted to me.
That's what I'm
I
trying.
don't know why you girls aren't attracted to me, but I will punish you all for it. It's an injustice, a crime, because I don't know what you don't see in me. I'm the perfect guy, and yet you throw yourselves at all these obnoxious men, instead of me, the supreme gentleman. I will punish all of you for it. On the day of retribution, I am going to enter the hottest sorority house of UCSB, and I will slaughter every single spoiled, stuck-up, blonde slut I see.
You know what's great? You know what's crazy is, like, he didn't even get the right sorority. At the end of the day, he didn't get the one that he was targeting. So it's like, this guy's, I don't know.
See inside there. All those girls that I've desired so much, they would have all rejected me and looked down upon me as an inferior man. If I ever made a sexual advance towards them, I'll take great pleasure in slaughtering all of you. You will finally see that I am, in truth, the superior one, the true alpha male. After I've annihilated
You're not the superior one. You're the most insecure person out there.
every single girl in the sorority house, I'll take to the streets of Isla Vista and slay every single person I see there. I will be a god compared to you. exacting my retribution, and all those who deserve it. And you do deserve it, just for the crime of living a better life than me. If I can't have you, girls, I will destroy you.
Yeah, I'm starting to like lose empathy towards Elliot because at this point it's like there's nothing you can agree with. Whatever's coming out of his mouth is just crazy. And that laugh, dude, that Joker laugh, dude.
I hate all of you. Humanity is a disgusting, wretched, depraved species. If I had it in my power, I would stop at nothing to reduce every single one of you to mountains of skulls and rivers of blood, and rightfully...
What did you say? Mountains of skulls and rivers of blood? Who talks like that? I've never met a person that has talked like that ever in my life.
So. And all of you men, for living a better life than me, all of you sexually active men, I hate you. I hate all of you. I can't wait to give you exactly what you deserve.
And that's the thing. Not every guy's sexually active. There's a lot of guys that masturbate every night.
Utter annihilation.
He compiled his manifesto, My Twisted World, into one document and sent it out to several of his counselors. Elliot's counselor, Gavin, informed his...
I'm just letting y'all know we're not going to go through his whole manifesto. That'd be like a year process. We won't... And make sure to like the live, share it, but we're not... I'm not going to do that to y'all. We're not gonna do the manifesto. We already know too much.
His mother, Chin. Word of the manifesto quickly spread. Due to a sudden change in schedule, Elliot's father, Peter, was in the US after all. As a result, Elliot wouldn't be able to face him. In turn, that meant he wouldn't be able to kill Sumaya and Jazz in the end, saving both of their lives. Being that this was the last day of school and he wouldn't have any more chances, Elliot abandoned this portion of the plan and pressed on with the rest. Peter and Sumaya, upon hearing the news, immediately got into the car and started driving towards Santa Barbara. Chin hopped into her own car and sped out as well. It was now a little after 9 p.m. Elliot drove up to the sorority house he had been stalking. He pounded his fist on the front door, trying to get someone to let him in. Much to his dismay, nobody did. Frustrated, he returned to his car. He started driving away slowly until he saw 3 women walking on the sidewalk. He slowed down, making the 3 think he was about to park. That's when he pulled out one of his guns and shot all 3 of them. Veronica Weiss was shot 3 times all over her body. The fatal shot was a bullet that punctured both lungs and her heart. Catherine Cooper was shot 8 times herself. She received 3 shots that could have each been fatal on their own, 1 to the head and 2 to the chest. Bianca DeCook was shot multiple times herself, and although she collapsed to the ground, she wasn't dead. This was...
I mean, what's the point? Like, dude, like, that's just... Oh, Thorkel! I love the manifestos. I'm sure you do love the manifestos, but I don't think we're going to cover it here on this stream. I think that would just be, like, months and months. I mean, because it's a very long manifesto. I don't know. Let me think about that one. Are you asking me if I should cover it here on the stream? Because it's just pages and pages and pages. But this fucking Elliot guy, man.
Was when the first 911 calls started pouring in.
We have 3 girls, 3 women.
They got shot?
Yes.
Are you okay? Hold on 1 second. What did the vehicle look like?
It was a blue sedan. I don't remember.
Elliot sped off, going east on Pardall Road. He drove past a coffee shop, the Coffee Collaborative, and fired 1 shot into the building. Luckily, the shop was closed and nobody was inside. Continuing east, Elliot saw a group of people standing in front of a market. He fired several shots. Several people rushed into the Ivy Deli Market to take cover.
What do these people do to you, Elliot? Like they're getting a bag of Doritos after a study hall. And you go shoot into a random deli, liquor store? I don't get it.
Were all captured on CCTV footage. Christopher Michael Martinez was right at the front door, almost inside, when he turned around and looked at Elliot's vehicle. He was then shot, collapsing to the ground. Numerous more shots were then fired into the shop. Christopher died then and there from one single gunshot wound to the chest. Elliot continued driving down the road, intentionally striking a man in front of Nesper's University Auto House. That man had heard what he thought were some fireworks going off as he walked. This was when Elliot, driving south on Embarcadero del Norte, barreled towards him. He tried to get out of the way, but he was stuck. He was hit with such force that
He deserved a double leg takedown. That's what Elliot deserved. Once that shit started going down, you pull him out of his car, double leg takedown, and yeah.
he flipped through the air, landing on his back on the sidewalk and injuring his leg. As Elliot continued south, he shot two more people, a man and a woman, in front of 6533 Trigo Road, injuring them both. They had been walking into a shop called Pizza My Heart when they saw a dark-colored car quickly driving towards them. Elliot rolled down his window, laughing at them in a way they described as creepy. He muttered something they couldn't understand and then raised his gun.
What do they do? They're getting pizza at night. So he was against people getting pizzas at night? Eating a meal? The hell's wrong with this guy?
Shot at them both, causing them to flee into the pizza shop. The windows began to shatter as more shots flew in. The woman was grazed by a bullet in her right arm, while a man was shot completely through his left arm. Elliot then pulled up near the intersection of El Embarcadero and Sabado Tarde. There he saw a woman riding her bicycle. She was heading towards her friend's house when she heard 5 to 10 popping sounds. She too assumed they were fireworks until she felt a sharp pain in her leg. Looking down, she saw that she had been shot. She got off her bicycle and ran into a nearby 7-Eleven, begging for help. She, along with others, hid in the bathroom and waited for
Alright, yeah, Elliot's a piece of shit. Alright, I'll say it. Elliot Rodger is a piece of shit. Okay? Fuck this guy. I might have to, I don't know. Should I keep going? I don't know. Do you guys want to hear? Do you want to see? This is just not good.
assistance to arrive. She suffered 2 gunshots to her right thigh. Elliot was now just north of the intersection of Del Playa Drive and El Embarcadero. He shot at and missed some women walking nearby. These 2 women also thought that they had heard fireworks. But just in case what they heard actually were gunshots, one of them decided to run. Elliot pulled up to her, rolled down his window, and said, "Hey, what's up?" He smiled at her with a little grin. He lifted a black gun from his lap and aimed it towards her. Luckily, even at close range, he missed. She wondered if the gun was even real, hoping that it was just a prank. But then he fired once more. This time the woman felt that bullet whiz right past her face. Elliot smiled as he continued to fire. The woman ran into a house nearby.
I don't like anything about this guy. I don't like his smile. I don't like the way he talks. I don't like Elliot's laugh. I don't like anything about him.
Telling the occupants that she
I try to give him a chance, you know? I was trying to find empathy, but like the more this goes on, it's like this guy's a piece of shit.
had been shot at. The occupants informed her that several people in Isla Vista had just been shot minutes prior. Police got word that Elliot's BMW was heading westbound. Elliot drove past a police officer, Deputy Martinez, and shot at him. He missed, but Martinez fired a shot back at his own car as it drove away.
I'm gonna do my very best, but man, I haven't eaten. I'm going on 1 mini Coca-Cola and some of these candies, and I do need to eat something. I'm gonna try to get through it.
Informed dispatch, "I was shot at from a 2-door BMW, westbound from Embarcadero on DP. A man was riding his bicycle down Del Playa while another man on a skateboard was near him and 2 other women walked alongside them. They heard 6 loud popping sounds and they sounded fairly close. The group thought nothing of it, however, not even knowing what the sounds were. They continued heading home, having a lively conversation about surfing. Then, suddenly a car blasted through, hitting both the man on the bicycle and the man on the skateboard.
Your dog is awesome. Fuck that guy.
From behind. One of them flew 50 feet into the air after being struck. Miraculously, both survived. After getting some food at the 7-Eleven,
I have 1 piece of corn in my. I have a piece of corn. I was gonna cook that up.
on
okay.
Trigo Road, one man was walking home. He heard some sounds that he too thought were fireworks. As he continued walking, he saw a dark BMW pop out of nowhere, driving north at a very high speed as he walked south. He continued to walk until the BMW stopped near.
Shout out to Wufio for a snack. Good looking out. You didn't have to do that. We're just trying to get
Round 2, brother.
Oh,
Round 2.
All right, have a seat.
Round
started
2.
shooting.
We're
This man
doing
then ran into a
round
nearby
2
house where the
of
occupants were standing
Stevie's
outside.
Streamies, baby.
All three of them
It's
ran inside and
happening,
locked
brother.
the door.
It's
The man had been
happening.
shot twice, but the occupants of the house were able to help out for the time being. Neither shot was fatal. 2 men were in their home when they heard some loud pops. They didn't think
I heard that someone's energy was down, so I came to spruce it back up so we can stream all night
You don't
long.
have to do that, man. What are you doing, man? You already did enough, man. You don't have to do that, man. I didn't. Why? What are you doing,
I
man?
came by to say
You
hey
got
again.
your own life going on, man. What are you doing? Man, you really surprised me. I'm trying to get through this, man. I'm trying to get through this. All right?
I had to talk
People
to
are
Steve's
spamming
neighbor
stuff.
to open the gate to get me back here.
Hey, dude, do you think we can finish it? I'm trying. Look how much is left.
How much is left?
This much.
Oh, I'm not gonna make it,
Oh,
brother.
no, we're gonna try. Hold on.
I just wanted to
much
say
of
hey
it.
again.
They were already about to leave to go get something to eat, so they hopped on their skateboards and headed out. This was when they saw a black BMW make a wide turn towards them and accelerate.
Good time
They
tonight.
tried to get off the
Great
street as
time.
quickly as possible, but weren't able to make it in time.
Oh
Elliot
my
hit one of
God.
the men and knocked him into a parked car, smashing.
Can I tell you about my show?
Yeah, go ahead, tell the story about
Okay.
yourself.
I gotta tell Steve about this.
Yeah.
I just had a set that did not go well. Okay.
Oh no, what
So,
happened? What happened?
A lady comes up to me after the show
Yeah.
and goes, "Hey, I need to see your face on this camera."
Yeah.
I go, "Okay." She comes up to me. She goes, "Hey, Jeremiah, big fan. I've never seen you bomb before."
No, you did new material. That's why.
It was not
No,
my
you-
room. It was just not
Oh,
my
I'm
room
sorry. Look,
tonight.
people are.
It was
they're-
not my room.
Oh my.
That's okay. That happens.
Yeah,
My
what-
pacing was a little off. It was like
How much time did you do?
I ended up doing. I was supposed to do 10. I did 15 because
Oh, Larry's your biggest fan. Jerry asked before you left when your body's coming back to
Providence, Rhode Island.
Ha-
I'm gonna be in New York next week. You can come see me in New York next week, but I won't be in Rhode Island for I
Yeah.
don't know.
So did you? So what happened? Like, how did you start
just-
out?
it just
But what
didn't
about your
go
crowd
well.
work? You're good at crowd work.
Well, that saved it, but they were just not. I had a few jokes that I was telling that maybe they thought were too edgy or something. I don't know. It was like a hipstery kind of crowd. It was like in the back bar.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
in the back room of a
So
bar.
this wasn't at the comedy store.
No,
Oh,
no,
then
no.
there you go.
No. It was
Yeah.
like an indie show.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were not having your boy tonight.
but that's a. I mean that happens what, like once in a blue moon, right?
Oh no, it's a humbling. That's what's fun about stand-up. It's humbling. You know.
Oh, dude, come on, man. Everyone knows you're. Come on, dude. You got it. I mean, that's one bad night, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's go. I'm sorry.
He
I'm
injured his
sorry
hand and
for
leg, getting glass shards embedded into his skin. Another man was riding his bicycle nearby when he heard about
The
5
negativity
gunshots.
out on screen.
No,
And
there's
that
no
lady-
low, no, there's no low vibrations
Slowly
here.
now,
There's
about 15
this.
miles per hour, started coming towards him. He was hit by the car, going flying off of his bicycle. He was relatively uninjured.
Yeah, I slowly started.
When he came to his
I
feet, he
wanted
turned around to
empathy
see
for
that
this guy, but
BMW
I don't
hit
like
yet
him.
another
I
man
was
on his
watching it
bicycle,
on the way
who
over, and I
also
was
survived.
laughing. You're like, you know
Then
what?
they
I
heard
don't like
even
this
more
guy.
gunshots.
Nobody likes this guy. This guy's horrible.
Well, I was
Passing
trying to
through Camino
find something
Pescadero and getting on the
redeemable
Sabato
about
Tarde.
him.
Well,
He there
that's
had
you
shot a
trying
man
to find the
several
good in
times in the
somebody.
back. The residents of the home who had previously helped the other victim with his injuries
I
pulled
know,
this
I know.
new victim
Not
inside
reading
as well.
some of these.
Miraculously,
Yeah.
he survived all of those
Keep it in the
gunshots in his
positive.
back.
I've been
One
dealing
man
with
was
this
walking on
the
the
whole
sidewalk
hour, yeah.
near 2 other
I
men
don't know
he
how to
didn't
do
know.
the-
Oh, you want me to block
Suddenly,
something?
the black
Well, no,
BMW
you don't have to.
pulled
No,
up
I
and
mean,
came
just
to a
say you
quick
guys be
stop. This man,
respectful
along
here
with
in the
one
chat.
of
You
Hey,
know, like,
this ain't my
men
stream.
were
I'll start blocking
Yes,
people
Yeah.
left and right if there's
Shot.
negativity being thrown in my
Without
scissor bro
respect.
over here. He doesn't know how to. Do you
Deputies
want me
had
to?
arrived.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
got into a
I'm gonna put him in
gun battle
timeout.
with
I'm gonna put him in
exchanging
timeout.
a good number of shots back and forth. As he drove
Oh,
past
well,
the
let me.
deputies, he held his gun out of the driver's
We'll
side
figure it out,
window.
guys. Hey, let's
Two of
keep
the
it positive,
officers
huh?
that
Yeah,
We're
keep
almost
it
there, guys.
positive.
Yeah,
We're almost there,
baby.
guys.
Yeah,
We're almost
baby.
there.
hit the driver's
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
Oh,
He started
yeah.
to
Go,
westbound
boy.
Oh,
the
my
It's just
goodness.
one night. You're gonna fucking
He
kill
sped
it
up to hit
tomorrow,
another man on a
boy.
bicycle
Oh,
again.
wow.
This was a man
Here
named
we
Keith
go.
Child.
That's so
Round two,
funny.
California,
Aaron
round
Bond
two.
said, you
There
know,
you
that
go,
serial
boy.
killer's not a
He was
nice
still running
guy.
at full speed. Elliot pulled out one of his guns and fired
Oh
it up
my
against his
goodness.
temple.
It's so weird
The
that this
BMW
feature...
went swerving and
Yeah.
crashed
The chat
near the
won't let
intersection
it.
of Del Playa
Oh,
and
wait.
Camino Pescadero.
I can do it through this.
The police
Or
quickly
does it pull up
broadcast
on-
that
And
the
it won't
vehicle
pull up
had
on
come
that.
to
No,
a
that's
stop
what
and
we're
that the
watching.
suspect was
Oh,
dead.
oh,
They
that's
arrived
Yeah,
why.
maybe it's
within
through
mere
OBS, that's
seconds.
why.
Because it's through
Elliot's
OBS. It'll
BMW
Yeah.
just let you see
suffered
your
heavy
chat.
Yeah.
Since we're not on
colliding
YouTube.
with
Yeah,
the
it's
car,
fine, it's
causing
fine.
the
Yeah.
driver's side door to
All
pop
good.
open. Elliot was there, motionless,
Mr.
hunched over his seat.
Tojenga. Oh,
Within
no,
only
I'm
8
getting
minutes, 3
flashbacks.
young
Oh, I'm
victims
sorry,
had
I'm
died
sorry.
and 14
Flashbacks,
more
baby.
were injured. Elliot himself was also gone. His day of retribution was over.
Dude,
It
he
wasn't
shot
long
that
before
random
the
girl.
police
You know
pulled
what?
out the
Let me get you a
suspect's
cheeseburger.
identification
You want
and
to get a
found him to be
cheeseburger
none
after
other
this?
than Elliot Oliver
I owe
Robertson
you.
Rodger.
No, I
aged
owe
No,
you,
no, I
buddy.
owe
I owe
you. No,
you.
I owe
They
you.
saw
owe you.
Chung on the
Okay.
ground nearby. Coincidentally, Elliot's car had ended up crashing right next to where he had landed after being thrown from
Oh, I
his
forgot
bike.
that you had a
The
dog and I just
police,
felt
thinking
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was an
yeah.
accomplice,
Oh, no,
had
it's
been
fine.
flung
Oh, he
from the
likes
car,
it.
placed him
I
in the
scared
handcuffs.
the neighbor's
However,
dogs
he
on
was only
accident.
Oh,
in
no, it's
handcuffs
fine.
for a few short minutes until they found out what really had happened. Peter, Sumaya, and Chin hadn't even arrived in Santa
Okay.
Barbara yet. Police officers were able to
Whoa,
contact
they
them over the
literally just
phone.
finished
Both
Scissor
of
Bros
them, although
again.
shocked by what they had read in the manifesto
That's cool.
and seen in
Watched
the
all the Scissor
video,
Bros.
still didn't
Hell
believe
yeah.
that Elliot had it in him to kill anybody. At 11 p.m., a detective requested a sweep of Elliot's apartment to check on the safety of his roommates. They entered the home only to find the two men were brutally murdered. They were surprised to find one more man as well,
I'm gonna
finding
send
out
some
that he was
articles
only a
in
friend.
this.
No, it's fine.
Peter and
It's fine.
Chin finally arrived, meeting two detectives in the parking lot of a Home Depot shortly after 1
Okay.
a.m. They
Thorko, your face looks like a turtle. Pinch turd in my bungalow.
I'm Bungholio.
Bungholio.
Okay.
were
Okay,
eager
Thorko.
but nervous to hear about what had happened with their son.
Elliot's
They
nuts
felt that he was
always got
likely
stuck in a
involved with
zipper.
what had happened, but they had no idea of the extent.
That kinda
They were
looks like
told
Cindy
that
Lee.
Elliot was dead.
Hey, those were some fun. We had the best ads in the.
The best ads in the business.
Hey, Scissor Bros had the best ads.
Best
out,
ads
yeah,
in the business.
Yeah,
Peter
hands
and
down.
Chin were extremely distraught and weren't able to provide any more information. They managed to agree to meet with the two detectives at a later time when things were a bit more stable. Soon after, once they came to terms with what had happened,
His
they
dad
began
was handsome
cooperating
too,
with the
huh?
detectives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were able to give them a great
at- he was
deal
a
of
cute- he was
valuable
a cute
information
kid.
about Elliot's troubled life, his hateful views, his manifesto, and his videos. Search warrants were served at both Peter and Chin's homes while everyone involved came to be interviewed. Detectives found Elliot's journals back at his home, noting that his bed had been stabbed repeatedly with some sort of knife. This was either likely in one of Elliot's previous tantrums, or perhaps as
He killed his Asian roommates.
Asian on Asian crime?
Yeah,
That's even worse, brother.
he killed all of his Asian roommates. Yeah.
Oh my
practice while he waited on his roommates to come home.
Someone
They
has
got
nightmares about
access
the
to his
diaper
YouTube
challenge.
and
when he
Facebook
presses
accounts as
spacebar.
well, and
The diaper
Hey,
challenge.
refresh my memory.
Oh, you know. Well, you.
Go ahead, run it down.
Well, we did this. We pooped in diapers a couple times on Scissor Bros. It was part of a challenge. One was an X-Lax challenge, and one was an enema challenge. Steve definitely squeezed an enema up my butt. Like,
Is
I
that
was
the
a-
one where they're talking about? I think they're talking about when we pooed in the
when we
diapers.
pooped in the diapers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
his cell phone, finding that Elliot had taken hundreds of selfies,
Oh
occupying
my
most of the
goodness.
picture folders on there.
They wanna see a real
They
scissor.
compiled all of the dispatch files, search warrant returns, 911 calls, CCTV footage, pictures, and videos they could find. They quickly came to piece together Elliot's deteriorating
this
Oh,
guy's
there we
state
go.
as they
Shout out
were
to Tom Neal. Freaking love you guys, Jeremy. Make sure Stevie eats
Yeah,
something.
he's gotta get some-
no,
all
it's
about his
fine.
life
It's
How
fine.
much
until
left
this
in this?
point.
Are you
The
gonna do a
police
third
concluded
part?
that Elliot had acted on his own that day
much
and was
is
the only
left
person
in this,
responsible.
brother?
Had he had
Oh
been
my
alive, he would have
goodness,
been
another
charged with 6
25?
counts of
When was the
murder,
last time you
3
ate?
counts of murder under special circumstances, lying in
Steve
wait,
hasn't eaten yet
and
today,
20 counts
guys.
of
I don't want to
attempted
take him
murder,
off the stream.
Not to mention
but,
various
I mean,
lesser offenses.
Man, that's
As
crazy.
there was no
Have you even
criminal
had
to
any candy?
prosecute, the
You want to try one?
investigation
Go ahead, try
was
one.
What are they?
closed.
They're like sweet tart. Just try one.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Thank you.
Oh, here we go.
DoorDash In and Out? No, we can't do that.
11 of the
well,
injured had been taken to different hospitals,
Close enough.
mainly Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital. 2 were admitted in serious condition, 1 in fair condition, 2 others in good condition,
you learn
and 1
every
was
time.
released
Oh,
that
I've
same
been
day.
recording on
4
my phone
others
this
were
whole
treated
time?
and released at
Oh
another
no,
hospital.
that was a
Elliot's
long
friend
video.
Philip, seeing all of this unfold on the news, was left in sheer disbelief. He watched in horror as the truth slowly trickled out about what his childhood friend had done. When news came about the manifesto, he felt sick to his stomach. He didn't check his email very often. Could it have been that Elliot had sent it to him too? Yes, he had. Philip spoke out in an interview, saying, "I have been literally sick every day since this happened. I can't eat and I'm struggling to sleep. I just can't believe I was friends with a psychopathic mass murderer." Elliot was incredibly shy and awkward his entire life, and it was clear he had issues, but there was never anything to suggest that he was capable of this. He never displayed anything even bordering on violence or aggression. If I'd had...
You and Bobby need to go on the H3 podcast. George Tapia, Scissor Bros for Life, best podcast.
Had even the faintest idea, I would have done something. Back in January, he posted something slightly worrying on Facebook. It wasn't extreme or aggressive, but he seemed depressed. I can't remember it word for word, but he was basically saying how lonely he was and that no girls would ever talk to him. I actually posted a comment to try and cheer him up, but he deleted it. When I saw what had happened on the news, my jaw dropped to the floor and I was shaking in disbelief. Then I read the manifesto. It makes me sick to think just 9 minutes later he shot those girls.
Stevie has a piece of corn
I could
on
never
Yeah, I
have
have
possibly
corn in
imagined
my-
anything like
in the
this was
freezer?
going to happen.
No, it's in the
What people
toaster
need to
oven, but I
realize
just
is
haven't
you
cooked
cannot
it yet.
rationalize or explain
It's
this.
just one piece of corn
He
on the cob.
obviously had serious mental
It's
illness
fine.
that he was able to hide from the world.
Oh, maybe
Everyone
some
is focusing on
oxtail.
Elliot's lack of success with women, but they need to appreciate that he was unable to communicate with anyone. He was so shy and painfully awkward.
No, you
He had a
No,
boring
you did.
personality and he
You did.
didn't talk. He would never dream of approaching a girl, he just expected them to come to him, which they didn't. If any of them ever had, it wouldn't have lasted long because he wouldn't chat to
Steve,
them.
are you fasting? Why haven't
Elliot's
you eaten
friend-
today? This is how he eats. If you don't know this about Steve, Steve sometimes will do 1 meal a day, and that's his typical routine. So he's not fasting, but technically it is kind of intermittent fasting because it's long breaks of time.
Yeah, exactly. It's intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
I was getting a little bit of a belly still. I'm just trying to, simmer it down as far as the
Jeremiah
calories.
talks to birds. Ha ha ha.
And Andy, who he met in the courtyard of his apartment, was let.
I'm gonna show you something.
Yeah, go
Gonna
ahead.
show you something for those people saying that I talk to birds. Because guess what?
Shout out to
in
Angie.
disbelief upon-
Best stream ever. Thank you so much. Hey, we're trying, Angie. We're trying
doing
over
it.
here.
We're doing it.
really trying
We're
over
really
here.
doing
on
the
hearing
thing.
what had happened, but he felt that this was in line with Elliot's personality, confirming much of Elliot's rhetoric.
Me and my group of international friends, we just want to get him into the group and trying to help him. He was really
Yeah, I'm gonna drop a vlog next week. So yeah. I'm working on a vlog tomorrow.
upset about
Here we go.
why is the world
You
so
said I talk
unfair
to birds,
him,
huh?
and like,
Jeremiah
I'm
talks
a
to birds.
good-looking
Well,
guy,
guess
and
what?
why
Yep.
a girl's falling for those ugly fat
This
guys.
is me.
Sometimes I don't want to hang out with him.
Feeding a parrot with my mouth last night at the Comedy Store. Woo!
Okay, what room was that?
In the main room.
Oh, there you go.
Because
Isn't that
I
crazy?
love
depressing.
it. Yeah.
he never
Play
actually
magician.
Why is the
made me
background
feel
blue?
that there's a red
There's a
flag.
screen.
Shout out to George. Can we clear the air with some scissors? Yes.
Yep.
1,
1,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
7,
8,
9,
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20.
And we watched a movie with a group of friends. It's called Chronicle. After the movie, he told me that, I want to dominate the world. Like, while the shooting was going on, I was in the bar with my friend. I saw a picture of his car. So I was really shocked. I'm like, dude, this is Elliot's car. I started to see some news feedback on Facebook, and I was totally shocked. I was disappointed. I think he's a really lonely guy. I mean, if he had received more love, then I don't think it would get that bad.
Chris, Elliot's former roommate, also spoke to the news media, talking about how he tried to invite Elliot to hang out with him and his friends, but it was all in vain.
I had a short conversation with him when I moved in, said like, hi, how are you, all the regular things. And then throughout the year, there was a few conversations here and there, but he mostly kept to himself. It just seemed that he didn't really have anyone that he was close to. He would talk about things that aren't going well in school and that things just weren't working out. He talked about how you go out and see all these girls hanging out with the guys, and he couldn't understand what exactly they were attracted to, and
he's a
how he
bad
would
guy.
try and do
Now
the
they're
same thing, and it
interviewing,
never
like,
seemed to work out. The
let's let
Isla
the
Vista
chat decide.
culture is very much focused
Yeah,
on
well,
going out,
You watch this
having
all
a
the way
party,
through, right?
Well,
and,
this is a
taking a
3.5
girl home
hour
with you, and
documentary.
things like that. So.
Shout out to Joe Lang. Stevie, I just got into the game Terraria. You should try it out. Love from Minnesota. Scissor Bros for life.
I can.
Hey, chat, do y'all want to finish this? Because we'll go all the way. But Stevie, Silent Hill 2 gameplay vid. I haven't played it yet. Didn't even know about Silent Hill. I'll look into it.
I understand.
Some people are saying
that
go eat.
not, you know,
Some
it
people are
hurting
saying
him,
all-nighter.
making him feel lonely if it doesn't work out, but not quite to the extreme that it was taken.
The evening after the attack, students and members of the community gathered at a park in Isla Vista. They held a candlelight memorial to honor all of the victims.
Somebody said,
a few
"This
days
is only
later,
the
on May
trailer."
27th, 20,000 people attended a memorial at UCSB's
Oh my
Carter Stadium.
goodness.
One of the
says
3
finish.
women Elliot originally shot outside of
Whoa.
the sorority house, Bianca DeCook, went on television as well
Somebody
to
said,
speak
"No,
of
it
her
ended
experience
already."
that night.
I see his face.
Please
He smiles
finish
at me
tonight. Oh my goodness.
and just starts shooting. Like a
It's mixed. Go eat.
smirky,
Mix or
grimacy
finish.
smile, but it was a smile. He was just, he wanted to do this. He looked happy about it. I honestly, first of all, it didn't seem real. I thought, is this rubber bullets? And then I realized I'm bleeding, I'm in pain.
Monette, the girl Elliot had a crush on at school that he claimed teased and ridiculed him, was shocked to hear that she was mentioned in his manifesto. Not only did she assert that she never bullied him,
That would be a good guess too, Monette, because she grew up with Elliot. Comment below if you think that would be a good guest, a podcast guest.
she didn't remember him at all. She didn't speak for an interview, but her father did, saying,
It says Jeremiah
she was
wants to
10
go
years
home.
old, for God's sake. She
No,
can barely
I'm
even
actually
remember
texting
the
my
guy.
wife now.
He's a sociopath.
Full
That's
transparency.
got nothing to do with
Pause
my
it.
daughter.
Pause the stream. I'm telling her about the show right now, and I'm telling her that I'm gonna hang with you and go eat.
Okay.
She hasn't seen him since school. How is a 10-year-old girl going to bully
What the
a
F is
12-year-old?
this? This is sad.
I know we're trying to get through it, pal. I know it's sad. I didn't think this ain't like a prosperous happy ending.
Can we watch a dinosaur documentary next time?
All right, dude. I thought it would be a good idea.
She's devastated over the whole thing. If you think about it, he could have killed her. He could have come
This
after her.
documentary makes Lord of the Rings look like a short.
Oh my
Elliot's
goodness.
entire family, Peter, Chin, Sumaya, Georgia, and even little Jazz, were all subject to a flood of death threats over the next few days. They were forced to move every 2 days, staying one step ahead
Do a
of the
freeze
public in
pipe
case
ad.
anyone acted on those
Hilarious.
threats.
Is that the
A source
Rastafarian
close
thing?
to
I am
the The adults can deal
Island
with this, but for
boy,
people to be
just
targeted
trying
and
to
abused,
make it. I'm an island boy, just trying to make it.
Absolutely disgusting. They did nothing to deserve this, and it's the last thing they need to deal with this. Their lives are basically ruined because of actions beyond their control, because of their brother's actions. Grandma Jinx, now 89 years old, spoke out about the incident, saying, "My grandson was a very sick boy. I am still very upset about all of this. This is very sad for the whole family. If my husband was still alive,
Hey, someone
he
said
would be
if
in
you didn't have a
terrible
wife,
shock."
she'd marry you.
Whoa.
1 month later, Elliot Rodger's father, Peter, was interviewed, giving his view on the incident. This was one of the first, if not the first time, that a parent of a spree killer gave a full interview to the news media in the United States. He talked about his relationship with his son. He spoke of how normal and well-functioning Elliot appeared to be on the surface.
He was never formally diagnosed, and there was a suggestion that he might have been high-functioning.
I mean, that's his father. Like, he's a good-looking guy, right?
He's
Look at
kind
him.
of weird looking.
Really? Yeah. I think he's handsome.
Asperger's. And, you know, these were because of traits. For instance, there was a certain OCD about him. There was a certain, you know, like he'd always put his plate in the same
Is he
place.
British?
He'd like to wear
Yeah.
the same clothes every day. Elliot, really,
He worked on the Hunger Games. Pretty successful producer.
Really?
Producer guy, yeah.
was a very high functioning human being. If he was sitting here right now, you would think what a polite boy he was, but yet he had
Somebody
this.
just said, Jeremiah noticing all the similarities between Elliot and Stevie.
Okay, let's continue.
Thing going on inside of him. Elliot was far from evil. Something happened to him, and then I think he became very mentally ill. What I don't get is we didn't see this coming at all.
Thorco again, that ketamine
Wow.
cooking in Fushu. For sure. For sure. That ketamine cooking for sure. Oh, gotcha.
Nice.
Angie, can you eat on stream? Maybe the next stream, Angie. Good looking out. You don't have to donate.
We're gonna eat right
He
after
did
this.
go on to speak about
Do you wanna
his
go to
issues
In-N-Out or
with
Korean?
women.
How it's so important to present yourself as a human being from the heart outwards and not to be weird. And I say weird because it is weird when you think girls are going to throw themselves at you. I think he had a condition. He had a very seriously advanced mental condition, and I think that whatever would have happened, even if he got a girlfriend,
Somebody just said,
wouldn't
somebody send $50 so they can mukbang.
have been able to have made him into the happy human being we wanted him to be.
Oh my goodness.
He talked about his difficulty.
W-Stream.
Wait,
Your
this is a
longest
good...
so
Wait,
far.
read that one.
The difference between Stevie and Elliot is an engineering degree in Pringles containers.
He's getting along with other kids
know
and
it.
his fear of them.
You know it, brother. You know
He
it.
felt he had an inability to get
Oh,
along.
I
with
got a
them.
gift for
And
you.
this is when we realized that he had a real fear of other human beings, of other kids his age.
He knew that Elliot had problems with his racial identity.
He'd say, they're never going to like me because I'm not
good, brother.
6'2",
Thank
a
you.
jock, sporty guy. He did say to me once,
Somebody said,
I wish I
when
wasn't
you guys go to
half Asian.
Korean, do you just
I never
walk
realized
to
that he was so
Stevie's kitchen?
racist.
That's a good one.
He
Bro,
even
that's a
spoke
good-
of
I
the
will
online
say,
incel
some of
community
y'all's
Elliot
roasts on us
frequented.
have been pretty good.
Pretty good,
And I've
pretty
been
good.
enjoying
And I
them.
called him
More
up and
so
I said,
than the woman walking
"Why
up
are
to
you
me
going
after
on
my
this
show
website?
tonight and saying, I've
This
never
is
seen you bomb.
negative. This
That
is
one-
evil.
that one
and
frustrated
you shouldn't go on that.
You know, we'll talk about it. It seems like this is affecting you a little bit today.
I had to control my anger because it was just like, I already saw
We'll
what
talk about, but you know, it's a party. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
usually it's an audience member trying to
Yeah.
be funny after a show.
He expressed
I
his
was like,
shock
yeah.
at finding
Hey,
out
I
what
never
Elliot
heard you
had planned to
say
do
anger,
to his
though.
family.
So you got angry.
I was meant to have a meeting and
It made you angry.
Yeah.
Oh,
Made
it
my
made you-
blood boil.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
London, and he wanted to know the dates.
Someone said whip
he
out the
wanted
tape.
me out of town so that he could come and murder his brother.
Wait.
We love you, 'cause you're Korean. We love you, 'cause you're Korean.
And
You're the-
Sumaya, I think.
You're the king of In-N-Out and the Tango King.
We're almost done
How much
with
more?
the stream.
He was scared that he would hesitate, and I can understand that.
And ultimately, he spoke of his regrets.
I wish I could turn the clock back for the victims, for our family, for all of those
Favorite skate video? 20-shot sequence. Loved it.
One
all
of
the
mine.
stars out there.
Enjoy Bag of Suck.
Or Shorty's Fulfill the Dream.
While some people
Peter Smollett,
respected
baby.
Peter's decision
Some of the original World Industries, Rodney Mullen.
to
Yes.
speak out and advocate for more parents to keep a close eye on their kids, many felt the interview was in bad taste. Many people theorized that, given his career in Hollywood, Peter was only trying to save his reputation by doing damage control. Some more even theorized that he was
He's a
capitalizing on
good-looking
the
man, huh?
incident for clout. We will likely
He was-
never
he
know
was
his true
handsome.
intentions behind giving that interview. One of Elliot's high school teachers from his flexible high
Guys,
school
this
also
documentary
spoke to the
technically
media,
already
briefly
ended. This is
expressing a
just
sense
the
of shock
aftermath.
and disbelief.
That is kind of a point.
There was never a time in working with him or knowing him that I ever felt like his
Do you think it's 10
inability
minutes
to
now,
interact
right?
socially would ever
Let
have
it
led me to
ride,
believe
right?
that
Just let
this
it ride.
kind of
10
rage
minutes.
was building inside of him. Never.
Peter Rodger met up with the father of one of the victims, Christopher Michael Martinez, at a coffee shop in Santa Barbara to have a discussion. As it was a private matter between two grieving fathers on opposite ends of the case, it goes without saying that things were both tense and emotional. Surprisingly, the two were able to find common ground.
It's 10:32 p.m. in Cali.
They vowed to work together to prevent more incidents like this from happening in the future. Richard Martinez said, "We plan to work together so other families such as ours will not suffer as ours have." Richard has been an outspoken critic of the gun laws in the United States ever since the death of his son. Elliot's parents have since expressed similar sentiments. Peter expressed the feeling that knowing that Elliot did all of this was hell on earth, saying, "We are crying out in pain for the victims and their families. It breaks our hearts on a level that we didn't think was possible. It is now our responsibility to do everything we can to help avoid this happening to any other family." By July, an internal investigation into the actions of the police on the day of retribution had been conducted and completed. It was found that all of the police operated within department policy and procedure. It was concluded that they need to do better inspections of their guns, though, as one of them had jammed during the battle. Some lawmakers in California wanted the police to be investigated from the outside as well. This was because of the fact that the police had come out to Elliot's apartment shortly before the day of retribution on request of his mother after she had seen his videos. Despite this, the police didn't even watch his videos. They didn't check the database to see that he had recently bought multiple guns, and they didn't ask to check his apartment at all. They left without doing anything at all, purely because Elliot seemed normal to them.
Gotcha.
In September, legislators in the California state legislature passed a red flag law enabling judges to seize guns from people who are a danger to themselves or others. It was signed into law shortly after by the governor, Jerry Brown. 1 year after the massacre on the night of May 23rd, 2015, hundreds of people flocked to UCSB to attend another candlelight vigil to commemorate the 6 victims who had passed away. The mother of George Chen, the friend of Elliot's roommates who had died that day, even made a speech at the event. The next year, in April of 2016, Elliot's mother, Chin, officially gave her deposition in relation to the case. She reported that Elliot had confided to her that his roommates were bullying him. She mentioned instances in which they tried to steal his candy and when they tried to open his door and peep at him, which caused her to request that he be moved to a different room. She claimed ignorance beyond that. Aside from that, she's only ever spoken out one time, simply telling the media, "I feel the world's attention should be focused on supporting the victims' loved ones and remembering the lives that were so tragically lost." After the shooting, users of the forums Elliot attended, mainly PUA Hate, rushed to distance themselves from the massacre. PUA Hate was closed, and the users migrated to a new site, sluthate.com.
I'm goofy.
After a while, Sluthate was rebranded into redpilltalk.com, and then Red Pill Talk servers stopped responding in late 2019. In February of 2020, the International Center for Counterterrorism at The Hague described the killings retroactively as misogynistic terrorism.
Thank you.
The U.S. Secret Service also came to describe the massacre as misogynistic extremism. In recent years, Elliot's mother, Chin, has been working as an activist, promoting education and social-emotional development regarding children with problems similar to her son's. She has collaborated with the parents of both victims and perpetrators of violent killings in order to do what she can to prevent cases like
I think my teeth look a little bit better than that.
Particularly, she works on threat assessment and prevention. She has focused her efforts on stopping more cases like these before they even start. Elliot's younger sister, Georgia, graduated from the University of San Francisco with a degree in media studies and continues to work for a company that promotes creative activism. She has even worked as a cinematographer.
Hell yeah, shake junk all day.
Why are they only? Are they not allowed to show her face? Is that why?
I don't know.
Photographer, screenplay writer, and assistant director, while Sumaya also works
on television.
So
I did
that.
I did that by
personal website, Peter Rodger says, "In our new world of having to produce content from our homes, we have equipment, we have a location, and I am happy enough to say that I live with
any
two
more shows?
talented
What are you referring
actors,
to?
my
Where
wife
are you
and my
calling in
son."
from?
Elliot's brother, Jazz.
Dude, look at Jazz!
His name.
He's a fucking heartthrob.
He's a model.
Oh
That's
my
his
god,
brother?
his younger brother's a heartthrob.
Well, then maybe this is part of it.
Holy
Maybe
shit,
this is
look
part
at
of it.
Jazz. He grew up to be Johnny Depp.
I mean, it's how Bobby feels about you.
As Elliot feared,
You're the better
he's a
looking one.
good-looking young man who seems to be doing very well for himself.
Hey, I call it as
Several
I see it,
pictures of
brother.
himself with women floating around. Elliot Rodgers is a tale not unlike many others when it comes
let's
to
wrap
true
it up,
crime,
guy.
especially when it comes to mass shootings. He had a crippling mental illness that went untreated. He lacked
What
the
does Bob
social
do?
skills to
Wrap it
develop
up, dude.
meaningful
Wrap it up.
relationships.
Wrap it up,
As a
dude.
result,
Wrap it up.
he was bullied at every turn.
Okay.
He had a
Wrap it up.
family who
Wrap it up,
failed to
dude.
notice all of the red flags within his behavior.
I got a
and
Bob
finally,
story for
all
you.
of his clear expressions of criminal
He got real pissed at me.
Go ahead, talk into the mic, dude. Don't want to hear this.
I ate food with him and Ian Fidance recently.
Yeah.
At a diner.
Yeah.
And I ordered a milkshake. Okay. And the milkshake came out with the milkshake glass and the metal extra cup with extra ice cream and a spoon in it. And the extras, right? So I went straight for the metal cup because it had a spoon in it.
Yeah.
And I start eating it out of the metal cup.
Ooh.
He says, he gets mad. He goes, "What are you doing?" He goes,
Yeah.
"Everybody knows that's for the table."
Yeah.
Everybody knows that's for the
you
table.
You can't do stuff like that with him. Yeah.
He got mad.
Yeah, you can't. He's very picky about certain things. Yeah. You can't do that
wanted me
with
to
him.
offer that to him.
You know, no, you can't do that with
I'm like,
him.
it's my milkshake.
No, he gets very irritable with stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He thought I was a psycho for
on
starting
YouTube
with that.
and elsewhere were carelessly dismissed. Elliot Rodger didn't have to die. He didn't have to do what he did. He could have tried a lot of things differently, but he always reverted back to the same lifestyle time and time again. Instead of learning how to communicate with others, he continued to wait for them to come to him first. He focused so much on external validation that he never allowed himself to find a sense of self-worth within. Aside from anxiety medication, he refused to take medication for his autism and radical mood swings. He didn't like therapists and stopped seeing all of his psychiatrists.
What do we got?
This case is often a very
5 more minutes.
Woo!
5 more minutes.
We can do it. We can
Thanks
do it.
for joining us.
5 more minutes and then we're gonna go eat.
Being rejected by women was what led
Like
Elliot
the
to
stream,
his
everyone.
crimes. However,
Every
Elliot
Thursday.
was
This is
rejected
the
by
longest
women,
stream so
according
far.
Not only to his own manifesto
3
in
hours.
journals, but to his parents and his friends. He failed to ask any of them out in the first place or even flirt with them. He merely felt that because they didn't approach him
Hey, someone says
first, they
they love
had
you. Happy Sky
preemptively
says they
rejected
love
him.
you.
In the
Aw.
end, he only had
you.
assumed that he was or would be rejected.
All-nighter?
by them. There was no
not.
problem with Elliot's
I've already pushed it to the
appearance, his
brink
race, his
with
height,
this
or
one.
any of the superficial problems he found fault with. In fact, shortly after the story had broken and his face was all over the news, many women took to Twitter to express their disbelief that he was unable to get a girlfriend. By Elliot's very own admission, he knew plenty of shorter men, plenty of men he deemed unattractive, and plenty of Asian men
Mom's
who were
good.
able to
My
find
mom's good.
girlfriends. The problem was elsewhere. There were a lot of things Elliot could have done differently. He just didn't see them. Maybe with a little help and guidance, he could have turned out much differently. Maybe he
Yeah,
could have been happy,
communication.
and maybe his victims
You
would
never
still
try
be
to talk to
alive.
people. And that's
Elliot
the main
Rodger is
thing
not
I
the
have to
type of
say.
person one should
Communication.
admire.
He needed to
He is
learn to
quite the opposite. He
communicate.
would better serve as a cautionary tale.
Communication
is
key.
Factors
Communication
Unfortunately, people
is
with similar life to Elliot often have
key.
a much different perspective when they meet
Elliot
others.
needed to
Because they're so
learn
similar to their own. Rather
communication.
than feeling pity or disgust,
Communication is
idolization.
key.
Ever since Elliot's death, it has become
Women
more
are gonna
important
come up to you. You need to go up to women and communicate.
Despite having bullied him in the past, grew to worship him as an icon, dubbing him by the name he's still known by to this very day,
I'm sorry
the
for putting
Supreme
you through
Gentleman. Elliot's prevalence within the community is so intrinsic at this point that going on a violent killing spree is often referred to as going ER. Unfortunately, ever since Elliot's
never
murder
wanted to
spree,
see
many
credits
others have
more
gone
on a
on to
video.
do just that.
Stop.
The echo of Elliot Rodger's
Let's
crime
wrap
spree
it up,
Come on,
Dire
buddy.
Trip.
We
Let's
get
wrap it up.
You're a mean guy
While
who
we can't
didn't do
possibly
nice
know
things
how
to
many
women. We
criminals were
get
inspired
it.
By his crimes in total, we have already had very many who have come out and made it clear that they were.
He did have
Both
nice
of
lips,
The
so.
incels that Elliot was reported to have communicated with online, Chris Harper Mercer and Alec Manassian, went on to commit their own mass murders in the next few years. Alec Manassian wrote a message in his final Facebook post that quickly encapsulates the sentiment of incels worldwide. All hail the Supreme Gentleman, Elliot Rodger.
That's it.
We did it.
We made it through the whole
We did
stream.
it,
Please
baby.
keep doing stuff together. Love seeing together. Scissor Bros for life. Tom Neal, thank you for staying with us for 3 hours. Okay, next week we're gonna cover the hikikomori Japanese shut-ins. Okay.
What the frick?
Hikikomori shut-in videos next week.
Jeremiah's gonna talk to Steve about his programming.
Okay,
for
let's
the streams.
for the streams. Love you guys. Next Thursday and peep out Jeremiah's
Oh, the thing with you.
and
On June 23rd.
June 23rd
Oh, yeah.
at Jeremiah Watkins YouTube. Okay, all right.
Love y'all.
Love y'all.
Bye.
Bye. Stop streaming here.
Uh-huh.
Okay.